Right, and Delve Live begins now. Be scared. Be very, very scared. Right now, I am alone in the channel, and that does seem to be pretty much par for course. Usually, I end up alone at the start. I don't know if that's because people are ghosting me, or if that's just people always forgetting. I don't know. I try to let people know early. Who knows? Maybe they didn't want to hear what I had to say this month. Because if you're aware, if you followed anything that we do on social media, you've probably been aware that I had a whole host of complaints that are levied at, well, one company that is very near and dear to me, but actually a few others that I am also what's the word I'm looking for? Not pleased with in general. So, anyway, if you're not watching this live, that is okay, obviously, because then we also release this as a regular episode. So, you can always hear this later if you listen to Delve Podcast in general. Our live episodes go in to our regular feed, so you can listen to them with the regular episodes that we do. All right, so this particular episode hopefully is going to focus on some positive stuff by the end. But before we do that, oh, we have to go down a very, very dark wormhole. So let's start with this. Earlier in the week, I had put out a tweet, and that tweet was basically asking people that, we had this live episode coming up, which game company should take priority for a harsh critique. And I sent that out, and it had a few votes, and I had listed a few things. Basically, I listed Bethesda, Blizzard, Ubisoft, and then I got something better. And actually, I will do while I'm talking, I'll try to just put a screenshot of this, just so people can see what I'm talking about. But basically, I had put those out, fully intending to talk about any and all of them. Really, I wanted to be able to talk about any of them, and really wanted to touch on at least a few. But I wanted to get a good idea of what priority was going to be. And so I'm going to just put this up if you need to see it. Yeah, you can see that the results are pretty straightforward from this week. I just wanted to know what we should be focusing most of our time on. And basically, 71% of the votes that came in. Granted, I don't have a very large polling size. Yeah, it's not like a poll where you can get a really good sample size. It's whoever wants to vote. But still, 71% of that was Bethesda, and then Blizzard had 14, Ubisoft had 0, and then I Got Something Better was at 14. Now, Ubisoft I had actually just kind of thrown in there. I wanted to have another choice because Ubisoft was starting to kind of blow up a little bit in terms of what was happening with them, and I Got Something Better. I really just wanted to open that up because I wanted to get some ideas about how people felt, that maybe I was forgetting something, and there are a lot of companies doing a lot of shenanigans, so I didn't want to, breeze over that. The general, and I did get a comment too about one of them, and I will address that on this episode. So the thing about it is, all right. So there's a lot of different kinds of problems that we can address here, and regardless of whether other people are here or not, I want to be able to get to some of that. Basically, I did a 30-minute long video, which I can also post right from our pages, actually. Oh, yeah, that would probably be the best thing, wouldn't it? Stuff that I actually posted. Oh, hello, Paul!
Why, hello there.
Hey! I was just briefing anybody who might be listening. Oh, there's Alex.
Hey!
Alex,
Oh my god, that's so loud.
sorry.
Who,
I can.
me?
No, Nathan.
Me?
Nathan was so loud.
How about this? Is this better? If I'm back here?
I mean, I turned my volume down, so you're fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. I do know that I have to set my mic volume lower than the other people's mic for the audio level, but I never know exactly how that's going to function, so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just don't eat your microphone.
yeah, well, I
Also,
usually
can you,
love eat my microphone. Yes, what?
Can you hear my lovely voice right now?
I can.
You are still suffering from that thing from last week, aren't you?
Yeah, it's
Great.
still raspy. It's better than it was,
Great.
but this is why I was like, yeah, no, I can't.
Yeah. I hear that, and sorry about that. Is it looking any better than it was?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel nearly as bad. It's not sore, it's just raspy.
Oh, okay.
Last week it was like, ow, my throat,
Yeah.
pain,
Yeah.
ow.
I know.
Now
Yeah.
I'm just nice and bassy now.
Oh, that's good. Oh, you got the good bass going. Yeah, you got the
Bass.
you
So I actually had trick-or-treaters today. That's how my town ended up doing things. So the only way I could get, we're slightly up the hill, so the only way I could get people to notice was by doing this very basic and people would be like, oh, there's actually a person there.
Yeah.
Just gotta get one of those big inflatable lawn things.
I'm thinking of that. I'm gonna get a dragon for my wife.
There you go. Get a real dragon instead. Just immolate the children.
That would be fun, but I might not be allowed to do it more than 1 year in a row.
I mean, who's gonna stop you?
Halloween comes but once a year. Make it count.
True.
Make
You
it
know,
count.
true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start burning people because of you.
You know what?
When the cops come.
You know what? There's that nice Michael Myers guy. You know, he just does it the once a year, right? Like
Yeah, it's
for the
only the
Halloween,
one
you might as well just make it work. Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Why
Though
not?
he does max, I will say.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, if you're gonna go in, go all in. You know.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right. So yeah, I just I let people know that I did run a poll this week, and just to kind of get an idea of who people were truly angry about, and this was a little bit before BlizzCon too, so we didn't hear like an official response from Blizzard on what was going on with them, but still, I think yes.
I mean, Blizzard is kind of recanted for what the things they did were, at least.
Yeah, it was not a real big apology. Like, they didn't specifically mention what they did wrong.
No, I mean, they gave the guy his money back. He was still
Yeah.
in trouble for other things that were against, like, the policy or the rules, but...
Yeah.
I'm still kind of surprised they also took out the casters for that, because they were just like,
That
hey,
doesn't
what are you
make
doing? And then they go, ah! Like,
Yeah.
they clearly didn't want to be involved in that statement.
Right. They didn't want to be involved in that statement. But then also, didn't eventually they do something with the American players? Because the American players had said something about, like, that they supported Hong Kong, and they were like, oh, well... So somebody, like, pointed it out to them, like, well, why aren't you punishing the American players? Because they said that they supported Free Hong Kong, and then they were like, oh, yeah, I guess we got to take them out of the tournament, too.
So... I'm not sure if I'm remembering this correctly, but I do know there were people who did it on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were kind of complaining. And then people did, in fact, do that, and then they cut away. They did a lot of cutting away when people would hold up signs, and it was like,
Yeah.
ooh, this is not the best thing for you when you have to cut away from people saying, hey, free.
Yeah. I'm just kind of wondering if how many of the shirts for that the protesters were wearing, the Free Hong Kong shirts outside, made it into the convention center, because I don't think they can like keep you out. So I'm wondering how many. Like, I don't think they could really do anything about it, and I don't think that they'd want to.
Oh no, I have to find that. because I saw a screenshot of someone with a Winnie the Pooh costume inside BlizzCon.
I had
God.
I heard about that. Yes, and I was like, great, perfect, go with that. Let's just do
And you know what? It's just the right amount of silly
Yeah,
and just the right amount of fu.
yeah.
I heard that they were gonna anyone who was wearing one was gonna get kicked out. So
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. But
But it seems like they did not go with that because that would be very explicit on their part, and they didn't quite fall for that.
no, they've definitely recanted from their original stance on it. Whether they wanted to be not talk about it at all, like not take a stance on it, or whether they're we're trying to appease their Chinese overlords, it's questionable. But they've definitely recanted a bit at least, so that's good.
it's I'm
They'd
not.
still be mad about it.
I am
they've-
mad about
you
it.
know,
Well, I mostly
mean-
and to be fair, like I didn't I heard the response that I can't remember his name, but the head of Blizzard gave, and he didn't really give any specific. Like he was like, "I'm sorry," and it's like, okay, about what? Like you can elaborate on that. But he didn't really say specifically what they were sorry about or what their standards were.
You're sorry for being stupid. I mean, their employees gave them a really hard time too. So
Oh yeah, and their employees should give them a hard time. I totally think that that's justified. But like I know that Blizzard kind of ends up as the poster child for this. They're not in any way the only company that is responsible for kind of placating China. And I think they just ended up being the most obvious one at the time. Because like I'll give you a good example actually. So you remember the Bohemian Rhapsody had come out not too long ago. It was the movie.
the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about the movie right now. What I'm saying is that media companies in general are doing this. But Bohemian Rhapsody came out. It's about Queen. It's about Freddie Mercury. And the Chinese edit had to edit out everything about Freddie Mercury being gay. Had to be edited out of the movie for China.
Well,
I don't know how you
Yeah.
do that.
It's one of those things where the Chinese censorship process is a process. It is not someone looked at this, did a once over, and dealt with it. It goes through this board. It's filtered. It's
Yeah.
processed. It's
Yeah.
ground up and refined until they say, "All right, this is what we accept giving to our people."
Right.
And it's why movies have a much easier time because it's snip, snip, snip.
Yeah.
Video games, you have to be really careful because if people start, they also don't have as much of a hold either because
Yeah.
just video games aren't as easily gonna go through. So
Yeah.
they're so careful and they want this market, but at the same time, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
They're big against that over there.
Oh yeah. Really big.
Oh,
about
they
it.
love when you're free to talk about how much you love China as much as you want.
Yes, you are.
You're also free to talk about how much you love Trump as much as you want. So
Can you do that? Are they like Trump friendly
I don't
over in
know.
China?
I don't think he likes China.
I don't think he likes China either.
I don't think he likes anyone.
He doesn't
That's
like
also
anyone.
very
No, he
true.
likes Russia. Russia's okay. Russia's good people. Saudi
That's true.
Arabia,
Russia's fine.
good people. Saudi Arabia.
I don't know.
great.
Give it a week and I'll be upset with them.
Yeah,
again.
he'll be upset with him again. It's fine. You just wait a week. Trump's attitude is like the weather in New England. Just wait a minute. Just wait 10 minutes and it will change. It's all good.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
depressing.
Yeah, kind
That's
of is.
pretty accurate.
But,
Man.
Yeah.
well, I have to make at least one accurate statement in an episode.
I will say I'm kind of surprised that this poll was mostly pointing to Bethesda, though.
I mean, Bethesda's still on everybody's shit list right now.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, it's interesting because Blizzard's on the shit list for,
Different reasons.
censorship, but it's business practices which are starting to boil over and becoming a bit more
Right.
apparent. Bethesda made game decisions which were bad.
Yeah. Well,
And that's way more important
well,
to gamers.
like I
I
said
mean,
too.
not only game decisions too, they've made like economic decisions that are just bad at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad to go around. What I did mention before you guys got on to was this poll actually ended before BlizzCon started, so it is possible that like some of that didn't factor in because it kind of had been out of the news for a little while. But I find them bad for different reasons. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I find the stuff with Blizzard more problematic about stuff down the road, about what it's going to mean for, and I never thought I would have to think about this, capitalism versus democracy, like where companies are going to start dictating what is correct speech and what isn't based on what markets they want to appeal to, and that's a bigger problem than just like, boy, you really charged a lot of people for shit. But I find that problematic too, for a different reason. The Bethesda thing, I can kind of wrap my head around a little bit more, just because it's basically saying, we created a bad product. Instead of trying to get down on our hands and knees and pray that you accept our apology and that we're going to make a better effort in the future, instead, we're going to sell our most loyal fans shit that we should have put into the game to begin with, for a premium price tag. And now this is the new standard. And
then there's a civil war going on because of it.
Yep, there's this. Yeah, well, like you didn't know this was going. I when I did the video, because I was like, maybe I can just get a lot of this out of the way right up front. So, but then I'm like, no, I'm probably gonna have to talk about it again. The big problem that I had with this whole thing is if people eventually kind of, because I had already seen it where online people were kind of saying, well, that's not a really bad deal for the things that you're getting. If we get to a point where people are okay with this, guess what the new model is? $60 is your buy-in for a game, and then $100 a year is your unlock the actual game price.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
See,
that's
there's a difference
the new
between
The
like
EA wet dream.
Yeah, exactly.
See, and there's a difference between doing what Bethesda's done and doing what World of Warcraft does, which is you actually now no longer have to buy the base game. You only have to buy the latest expansion.
Yes.
I guess.
Okay.
So like, you don't have to buy all the previous games. You just have to go, all right, here's my subscription money to play the game.
Right.
And then, if you want the newest expansion, you pay for that to get the license for it to be able to play it.
Yeah.
Then you still have to pay, but it's not like they're going, hey, for your money, we're going to give you all this stuff a month. It's like, no, your money pays for you to play the game continuously, and we're going to keep coming out with updates and new content for you for free that you don't have to pay for up until the new expansion pack.
Yeah, and I think that the problem that you had here is that you were asking people to pay a full price game price at the front, and usually I figure that either you're going to say, this is like a subscription model and I pay so much a month, or it's a game I pay for up at the front, and then I determine if I want to pay more. Granted, you don't have to buy Fallout first. You don't have to, but it does seem like most of the features people were really looking for in the game that they figured, like, all interpretation was, we are going to include this in the game in the future.
Right.
It's a live service, and that's what we are adding, is now behind a paywall. And so that's disingenuous. It's asking you to put money up front, and then the stuff that it sounded like you were going to get anyway is actually more stuff you have to pay for out of the gate anyway. And
The worst, what makes it even worse is these were things that they did in fact say, yeah, oh, okay, we're listening to you. This is what you want? Okay, pay us money for it. Like,
yeah.
There was no implication that these things were ever going to be anything but, updates. And then it's like, hey, pay us a subscription service price for minor functionality that you guys have been clamoring for.
Yeah. That's
because there's
all
only
it
17 of you and you need to pay us.
Right. And then it boggles the mind, because then they can't even do that correctly. Like, we're gonna bilk you out of this money, this exorbitant amount, when you consider what you could normally get for that amount of money. Because I started to I just upgraded from my Xbox Live subscription to Xbox Ultimate, and it was $1 to upgrade. And since I had this is great actually, since I had just renewed for 12 months prepaid, my Xbox Live price actually counts as 12 months toward my Ultimate subscription already. So actually I don't have to make a payment now until next November, and it's just basically what I paid for Live. So that was really great, and for that price, I am now playing Outer Worlds. Now that's
Right?
yeah, and after I'm done with Outer Worlds, 100 other games available to me, whenever or however I care to play. Now, or I could pay that kind of money for literally one game that didn't really work that well to begin with. And not only are you trying to bilk people out of money, who are your most loyal fans, who have been sticking by you even through the hard times, where you have definitely gone through some hard times, but then you can't even make the premium functions work correctly. I can't
It's
with them
sad.
anymore. I just can't. It's just unbelievable. They had reports that people that were trying to use the other tent feature, they experienced complete game crash to desktop when they tried to use the tent.
I heard
oh,
reports of the infinite storage spaces. When you
Yeah.
use them, you lose everything.
You just
Yeah, I
lose
heard
it
about
all, and
that today too.
they don't know where it went
It's
either.
infinite storage because you don't keep anything.
Yeah, Bethesda admitted too, they actually have no idea where that stuff went. They literally, and they, because originally they were like, oh no, it's there, you just have to like reload some stuff, and it's eventually they had to come out and go, okay, we have no idea what happened.
We're just as confused as you guys are now.
It's just all gone now.
Well, at first they tried to say it was working as intended, and then they're like,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
no, it's a glitch.
Well,
it's a
it's-
visual glitch.
you know what it is,
And then
Alex?
someone was like, it's not a visual glitch because the items aren't there anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a feature. It's not a glitch.
yeah.
It's a feature.
It's not a bug. It's a feature to make you spend more time on our game.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It's
It is
awesome.
Bethesda after all.
Yeah, there you go. It's gonna be so great.
It's a feature. It's just not a feature for you.
Yeah, I love
It's not a feature for anybody.
I love that you have private worlds that aren't actually private worlds, and they're already like pre-eluded from somebody else being in your session.
And you can only go into it with the person who made it in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, I should apologize about one thing, because in that video I did say that everybody that had to be in one of those sessions, I did falsely say that they all had to be Fallout First subscribers, and that's not actually true. It's the person who created it, but then if they like abandon it, somebody else has to be a Fallout First subscriber to keep it. But that doesn't change the fact that I was wrong. You see, Bethesda, what I did there is I admitted that I made a mistake, and then I sought to correct it in a public forum. You see how I did that?
Wow.
I know. This is something you might think about in the
Weird.
future. I know. It's crazy.
You don't work for Blizzard, do you? Too many bees. Too many bees.
No, because I'm going to say something right now. Free Hong Kong. We can't get picked up in China now, Alex.
Oh, damn. We have
Sorry.
Chinese listeners?
Not anymore.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think Twitch is allowed in Hong Kong, so
No, I don't.
Listen, if,
although when you go
if
to-
you had listeners in China, you don't anymore. Don't worry about
That's
it.
okay. It's fine. I don't think we had listeners in China, but you know what? It's sorry if you don't like what I
mean,
had
we
to
could have
say.
just stopped the sentence. I didn't think we have listeners, and probably be accurate too.
I mean, I listen. I just
There you
sometimes
go.
join as well.
Yes.
Drunk Paul listens.
Yes, drunk Paul
You-
listens.
You have a man drunk up his ass.
There you go.
That's not true.
He listens
Not yet,
for
at least.
he is drunk, therefore he listens.
You know what? I'm starting to think that that's the untapped market that we're not really digging into right now.
Why do you think I put my name as drunk no matter where I go?
That's true. That's
God,
true.
You really love that alcohol.
Oh
It's
man,
a business decision.
sweet alcohol. I love
Also-
it dearly. Mm.
You should
fun-
seek sponsorship by some booze company.
Oh, that would be good.
So here's a fun thing.
Yeah.
I weird censorship thing that actually rolls into Ubisoft. Uh, last year I think this was back when I was playing Rainbow Six Siege a lot. I changed my name. I was originally Drunk Orc, and I changed my name to mess around with a friend. We all named ourselves after the person who we were in a Discord with, so everyone got very confused, and we ended up facing a YouTuber who was just like, "Oh, it's you morons! Great, this will be fun." He was good friends with the guy who ran the Discord, and that's
Oh,
just how
great.
that worked out. I finally decided the month ran out where it's like you can only change your name once a month. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my original name. It wouldn't
Yeah.
let me change it back to Drunk Orc.
Oh,
The word drunk was considered unacceptable language.
really? Wow.
Well
That
then.
is straight. Sometimes there's words that just don't seem to make a lot of sense.
Well,
That
this
that
was
people.
also around that time where Rainbow Six Siege was changing its visuals to deal with Chinese censorship.
Oh,
Oh.
do you think? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know anything about like China having a problem with like drinking as a thing. Like,
Drink. I don't know if drinking was actually a thing. I know any sort of explicit sexual content had to be censored.
yeah.
Skulls of any kind.
Oh yeah, they have a thing about death, don't they? That's like ghosts. That you can't have ghost movies in China because like ooh ghosts. It's
Man,
yeah.
how you gonna deal with those
Halloween
Jake,
can't be
Jake
big.
Paul and the
Yeah.
Forest of the Dead
Oh well.
video on you? Well, they don't have YouTube. Never mind, they're fine.
Yeah, no, the YouTube gets pretty well censored too. Um, yeah, no, I had heard that whole thing. I think that actually I was watching Adam on Your Movie Sucks, and he referred to it as China's "no ghosts, no gays" policy for movies. So, so
That's so bad. It's so
it's
accurate, but so bad.
it's so bad, but you know he is, so I'm gonna let him make that joke. And but he I think he was talking about it actually when he watched the Meg, and like the Meg was like a Chinese production. You could definitely tell like the majority of the cast was, and that it was built for that. And he was talking about it in relation to that, and his big complaint was it really did feel like I was watching a movie that was in no way made for me. It was definitely made for a completely different audience. And it's like, yeah, you're not wrong. um, but yeah, I loved the Matt Stone and Trey Parker uh, uh, response that they gave because if you haven't been watching South Park, they've been having a field day with Chinese censorship um, laws over there because they literally had Randy kill Winnie the Pooh off so that he could sell his product in China.
Yeah.
That was
I
great.
did hear about that.
Yeah, and then like to try and appease them, they wrote this letter that was like, we like the NBA do prize money over over freedom of
Yep.
speech, and all hail the great Communist Party of China. May your sorghum harvest be plentiful. And I was like, oh god, no, not the sorghum. And ironically, then I went down to Delaware, and you know they grow a lot of sorghum in Delaware.
I did
I
not,
did not know that, but I do now, and I'm glad I do.
Yeah, we went through fields
Yeah.
and fields, soy and sorghum, big crops in Delaware. Didn't know, now I do. So, and then it was like, well, what is sorghum? It's like, oh no, it's a grain. They use them in everything. It's a grain they use in everything. Oh, all right, cool. Apparently, it's a big thing in
Yeah,
China
good to
too.
know.
Huh? Didn't know? Now you do. It's the rainbow. The more you know, folks. Now we know the
Hey.
Delaware crops.
I never expected to learn on DelveCast about agriculture, but here we are.
You know what?
You
No
learn
one
about all
learns.
sorts of things on this show.
No one learns anything on Delve ever.
I learned about sorghum, so
You
you
learned-
can't say that anymore. Otherwise, you're a liar.
What did you learn about on Delve? Anything about game design? Nope. But I learned that sorghum's it's a big crop in Delaware and China. That's something they have in common. Didn't know that before. See, I think that's the thing, Alex. We got to start rebranding this show. It's like random facts you never knew about. It has nothing to do with game.
Tangentially related to game design.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been rebranding the show for a while now, Nathan.
Yeah.
How tangential can you get is the real question.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly.
We
Have you met
are-
Nathan?
You have
That's
not
true.
even
That's-
seen.
Let's be honest, I've been on too many of these interactive nights to not know that.
You have not even seen how much of a digression we can go toward. It has not even begun. But yeah, so Bethesda kind of screwed the pooch anyway, and yeah, and that's why 70% of the people responding said they needed a good talking to.
You understand you only
the,
had 7 votes in that poll, though, right?
I only had 7, but but you know what? 7 votes or 70, every single one of them is precious to me, Alex.
That's
with
fair.
Yes,
That's fair.
every single one.
I mean, I didn't vote.
Yeah.
Because
Who would you have?
I don't use Twitter.
Okay. If you had voted in that poll with the choices that I had given,
I would have actually voted for Blizzard.
Mm-hmm. I could
Mainly
see that.
because human rights are a bit of a bigger deal than being a terrible company.
Well, yeah, and that is the reason why it's weird to put all of this stuff in the same boat, but at the same time, it's all important stuff to talk about, and it's just it's different kinds of problematic corporate policies. But they're both very important to talk about in terms of freedom of speech, but then also in consumer rights. And so human rights, consumer rights, both very important to discuss. Maybe
Consumers are human too, Nathan.
yes, they are. So it's all human rights, really. But I guess more.
Consumers are human, yeah. Apparently, but if you're in America, so are corporations.
Yes,
That's true.
Just wait
corporations
till they
are
start
people.
voting.
Yes, exactly. We all remember that. That's law in the United States now. Corporations are people. Deal with it.
That law is one of those weird ones where it's like it makes sense on like a small business where
Yeah.
it's like, no, you can't sue the guy who runs the small business because some employee was kind of a dick to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have these mega corporations who are like, no, we're not responsible for the war crimes.
Totally
Yeah.
not responsible.
Oops.
I was gonna say atrocities, and then I went war crimes. I don't know why, but
Mhm.
oh wait, no, you can probably pin. No, there's at least one company I know that did that. So
Yeah. Well, you know.
Coca-Cola. Wait, what?
They did. What about Coke?
They may have sent death squads at someone before.
Really?
They hired
Oh.
death squads in Honduras or something. 'Cause
Oh.
they didn't want people unionizing.
That sounds
I'm not
like
kidding.
something.
That's the worst
Yeah,
part.
yeah, no, no, you know what? And the really sad thing, I can see that. Like,
No, that is the worst.
why couldn't Kendall Jenner have been at that particular round? She did such a good job with that commercial. Shouldn't they have learned that
Well,
is
that's
what
because
you
she
do?
supports Pepsi.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yes, that's right. There's the
I
difference.
need more rum.
That's,
Goddamn.
that's the difference, is that Coca-Cola will get the death squads going, but Pepsi wants Kendall Jenner to bring peace to the world. Congratulations, folks. We've learned a lesson about corporate America. So next time they say...
No one-
Yeah, so next time they're like, no, you ask for a Diet Pepsi and they say, we have Coca-Cola. You say, no, I believe in human rights. I stand with Kendall Jenner. Damn it, I stand.
Did you say Candle Jenner?
Yeah,
That's
it should.
weird.
That's what she was going as for
Because
Halloween.
she's a light for our people, damn it.
She's a
Oh
light.
Lord.
She's a light for our generation,
dear.
Alex. Kendall Jenner is the voice of our generation.
She's a light for our generation.
Yeah.
God,
God, I hope
we're all
that's-
fired.
uh,
Every one of us is fired right
Oh,
now.
that took me way too long to understand.
Oh, oh, Jesus. Yeah, I just figured out what you were going for.
Everybody's fired.
There, you know what's really
I don't
sad?
work for you. You can't fire me.
This gets back to the Kardashian Jenner family, and they will rebrand to Generation. They will brand
that
that.
makes me sad.
That will end up on a T-shirt, and they will make $1 billion more.
They
If
gotta
they
give
pay-
us money
listen,
for it.
See, I'm okay with it so long as they pay us like $7
Can
and
I-
like maybe a sandwich.
Yeah, can
There
I
you go.
can I have some of that money? I'll recant
I will
all.
give you my sandwich if they pay us a sandwich.
There you go.
But you know what's gonna happen is that they're gonna make the shirts in China, and then China, in order to release the shirts, are gonna have us recant all the statements we've made previously.
I will sacrifice my sandwich for human rights.
There you go. Perfect. That's what Winnie the Pooh would do.
Yeah, I stand with Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is a voice for our generation.
That's not wrong.
That is not wrong. Damn it. What did Winnie the Pooh ever do to you, China? Really, think about it. Think about
Well,
it.
it's just the one guy.
It's just the one guy, and why should he
Well,
He's
maybe
the
if
one
he did-
dictator.
Maybe if he didn't look like Winnie the Pooh, it wouldn't be a problem.
or maybe if he had an ego that wasn't so fragile that like the looking similar
it's not that
to
it's
a
just
character.
fragile, it's the size of China.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, it's just maybe if you didn't get so personally distressed by something like I look similar to a cartoon character, it wouldn't be a big issue. Like it doesn't have to be. Oh, you look like Winnie the Pooh. You know what? You laugh it off and you say, I guess maybe I do. And it's over. It's just over then.
That was a mic spike.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's one of those weird things. Like, you see these dictators with these iron grips on their image, but it just hurts them because,
Yeah.
like, it's why Boris Johnson has gotten so far. His entire image is this sort of semi-incompetent doof that everyone just thinks, oh, that's just so funny. But in truth, it's a disarming tactic. He knows damn well what he's doing,
Oh, yeah.
and it's gotten him hit far as hell because nobody sees him as a threat until
yeah.
he starts making racist comments.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
then
But
you're like,
then inevitably
"Oh."
what he does is that the reporters are outside his door trying to get an actual comment, and he offers them tea. And it's just so like, okay. I
I
guess.
too would like tea.
I mean, they're also British, so you know that's
Yeah.
just what happens.
Yeah,
They're just like, oh, tea, yes.
yeah.
Sorry, and he. I'm sorry to the one British person who might be listening to this.
Wait. We might actually have
Very
more
hard.
British people watching than Americans. I'm not really sure. We do have a few people, but the thing that's interesting is that like in terms of, you know, the most successful megalomaniac, Boris Johnson seems to be doing pretty well with just that tactic of just being so kind of disarmingly goofy that he can seemingly get away with a lot of stuff with but also he should not be in charge, and I'd prefer he not be. But hey.
Also, if you're hoping for a non-political DelveCast, why are you here? Why did you sign up for DelveCast?
Why did you sign up? See, we learned about so many things. We learned about Winnie the Pooh. We learned about censorship.
We're
and we learned about
geographically
sorghum.
diverse in our learning.
Yes, we learned about sorghum. You've already learned about so much on this show. You should be very happy. We're an educational podcast now.
We are delving into all sorts of topics.
That's right. Delve extends to
Just the
all.
way we like it.
Yeah, we like to delve into literally everything. You give us a thing to delve into, and we're there.
We're there, and then we're not there anymore because we delved into something completely tangential, but it works.
Yeah, and you know what? Don't feel bad. I actually happened to look up Delve online and just to look at podcasts, and I realized that there's a couple other like little projects that essentially had Delve as the name of their thing, and they
Oh
were
yeah, there was a couple.
Yeah.
None of them were like active.
None of
yeah,
them as good as this.
yes.
That too.
There
You take
is
the Delvey cake.
there is actually a podcast called DelveCast, which is actually
No,
for
that's us.
no, that's the Trollish Delver actually. Their occasional podcast is called DelveCast. But
Well, they need to cease and desist.
they don't do it very often anyway, so I'm not really gonna care. And then there was another, I had to listen to it because I was like, I gotta know what this is. That was literally just called Delve, and it was about tabletop gaming. And there was this kid, and I felt kind of, he only had a couple episodes, and he hasn't done it for a while, so I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. But I felt really bad because he was obviously like a younger kid that really had just gotten into tabletop gaming and wanted to talk to people. He had a guy on the show, And he says, so this is my guest, and go. And so the guest kind of like goes, okay, yeah, sure. Hi, my name is. And I was like, oh, kid,
little new to this, isn't he?
oh boy, kid, you're gonna have to get your big boy pants on someday, kid.
You gotta be a bit more detailed to people.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't fault him because I probably would have made that mistake at this front when, like, I can imagine. I'm trying to think back, like when I was first in reporting, I probably occasionally like went up to people and went, "Okay, so you talk now," and just like wait, like they're supposed to know what I'm gonna say. So I don't begrudge you, but it's a learning process. But if you do something on a regular basis, maybe don't call it Delve because it's kind of our thing. So trademark, copyright register. We didn't do any of those things.
I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. So I was gonna translate to a very different topic, and then I saw my friend in the distance jumping his ass off, just trying to get out of his stuck position.
Stuck position.
He's got stuck into the terrain.
He's in
Good
job.
So I've been playing a lot of Warframe, and they just dropped a very large update. And it's one of those things where I played Warframe for a while back in 2013.
Yeah.
A lot with some friends. And I lost interest because they were number crunchers.
Yep. Yeah, I see that.
And I was just like, I don't want to play a game about spreadsheets.
No? Why
not? Because I could play Dwarf Fortress if I wanted to.
Dwarf Fortress is fun,
Exactly. I can play Dwarf Fortress if I want, but it's just I don't need to play my Ninja Space Shooter as spreadsheets.
Well, but spreadsheets. But these are spreadsheets with a bow and arrow. I mean,
spreadsheet simulator.
But I came back to this game about I want to say somewhere like in May.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, why not? I might as well try it. I kind of like this game, and they just did a whole melee revamp, a whole bunch of reworks of characters, new character, and they now have a personalized annoyance system.
A personalized? Okay.
It is a character called a Kuva Lich. Essentially, you kill an enemy in the middle of a mission.
Mm-hmm.
It says, we're going to test this person on you, and you go and you kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very easy to kill. You could do it by accident if you weren't paying attention. And then the next mission, you go and you finish the mission, and it pops up that you have this Kuva Lich. And they personally go into your missions and steal stuff from you and take systems from you and make missions harder. And they will, if you piss them off enough, they will show up and kill you. And in fact, if you don't have the right array of mods on one of your weapons, you can't kill them, and they will break you in half.
Oh,
that's stupid.
It's okay because you're kind of told this ahead of time. It's like, no, you need these mods. And you can not fight them. You can avoid them in the mission, and you can go through missions that'll tell you, okay, these are the 3 you need to have. Okay, I just need the organization, and you go through 4 missions with different arrays, and you go, okay, he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But that's if you're patient. Some people are very not patient, and every time it kills you, it gets a level. I have seen level 20s. They're really hard to fight because they show up. Your Kuva Lich will show up in missions even with other people. So I'm sitting there and I saw someone's Kuva Lich and I was like, oh, I'll just put him down, because they'll go to one knee like a Skyrim NPC.
They'll take an arrow to the knee.
Yeah, exactly. I've got the shotgun and I'm like, okay, here's my super cool weapon I've been upgrading for years. Bang! Straight to the face. Oh, that did nothing. Oh no, I'm running. Nope.
This is just Sekiro all over again, but in space.
I was
Like, I understand Warframe because actually I had done it for the free-to-play marathon. I tried it out, and then it was the one game I actually downloaded again after I was done with the whole thing and played more. So I do understand it. And hey, that's a game that's free, folks. Like, you don't pay
Yep.
at the front, and if you don't want to, you don't have to pay into the future. Bethesda, did you notice that? That's
It's my favorite payment system. The only time you have to give them money is if you want cosmetics. Oh, by the way, you can buy some of our cosmetics by trading. You can
yes.
sell stuff to people. They'll give you currency, and then you can buy cosmetics. They also have my favorite way of involving their community for art. This is another thing. Bethesda, take notice. Um, there's a thing called Tenogen, which is essentially cosmetics that the community has designed and approved of. So the community makes them, and then people in the community vote on what they want to see as actual options, and then they go through Digital Extreme's filtering process, and they say, okay, these are the ones we want. These are the things people are interested in, and these follow our design philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a thing that Valve started?
I think so. It started on Steam.
Yeah, I feel like it started with CS:GO because the skins on all the
Yeah.
guns you can have players design.
Yep. So
Ooh,
what
nice.
makes it fun is not only are these things just very interestingly, they're made by players in the community. They're you can only buy them with real money. So there's no platinum exchange. There is a direct amount of that money, like I think it's around 30 to 40%, goes straight to the person who made it.
Mm,
So people have literally quit their jobs and
That's
done
good.
this full time.
Yeah,
that's
they
good.
do that.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, wait, you're telling, it's like they do a lot of goodwill, I will say,
Yeah.
about they make a lot of goodwill for their player base, and they're very good about doing it. God damn it, I see they have a lot of goodwill, but every once in a while I walk into a room and my player base model is twitching.
Yeah. Well, I did
They're not
notice.
perfect.
I did notice, like, when I was playing too, like, my stealth tactics work way too well. Like, I'll literally, like, be standing, like, right to the side, obvious to the NPCs, and they'll just be, like, staring off into the distance. And I'm like, wow, my stealth is working great right now. like, I knew that this was a game that I was probably going to enjoy when I got out my bow and arrow, and I was able to headshot two guys with one arrow. I like lined it up, and I like shot, and the two of them both went down at the same time, and I'm like, cool. this,
It makes you feel really cool, and that's fun.
yeah, but yeah, the AI was like all over the place, which is one of the things I was kind of like, eh. Eventually, I think I just stopped because it was starting to get a little grindy for me, where I had to just keep going, doing like the same things over, and so I was like, it's just.
I have a very distinct advantage on people where I played over the course of so many years
Mm-hmm.
that what I have is I basically had a head start for anyone who'd be trying the game again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had so many things set up, so much, backed up and ready to go that when I jumped back in with knowledge of what I wanted to do, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I can do this, 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 and this. And half of what I was doing, I already had ready.
Yeah. I get you. But I do appreciate that the company behind it is like really good to their mod community and everything.
Yeah.
But
Take note, Bethesda.
yeah, I was about to say, like, hey, you know that there's like that group of modders that were like working on like a whole new thing for Fallout 4 called Miami. You're not going to pay them anything, are you? They're like going to make a whole new game out of your old damn game. Or all
Maybe.
those modders for Skyrim that were going to make the rest of Tamriel. Remember them? No?
Yeah.
Nope.
They did
I do.
they did a
I
lot
like
of
them.
they did a lot of work. There are great modders out there that made all of those dragons just rowdy Piper.
Randy said.
Yeah. Randy Savage. They did
Ooh,
the Savage.
yeah.
Yeah, they did the Randy Savage. And you know what? You should thank them. You should really do something to thank them. Instead, what usually happens is they realize, oh, the modders had a good idea. We'll just put that into our next game, and they'll just implement it. Cause one of the big ones that had come was survival mode, which there were modders that were like putting that into like Fallout 3. So by the time New Vegas comes around, they were able to implement it. But then like from that point forward, like Fallout 4 and everybody, they had it too. And I still see it where some modders are like, yeah, I had this great idea, and then they ended up implementing it into Fallout 76, and I don't get anything for that. So it's like, you know what, though? I think that that's probably for the best. You don't want any kind of association with that game. It's probably better you don't have anything associated with it. But
it's also just hilarious. The funniest thing to me at this moment is Outer Worlds going from the creators of Fallout.
New Vegas.
No. I'm fairly certain I saw Fallout because they actually got the original Fallout creators on board.
Because Bethesda is an it is an outcropping of the original team that originally did Fallout 1 and 2.
Okay.
And the two guys at the head of Obsidian are the two guys that were at the head of the original studio that at Interplay that did those games.
But it's one of those like, hey Bethesda.
Yeah.
Remember when you actually made good sci-fi-ish games?
Yeah, that was us.
You don't? Well, we're gonna anyways, and you can't stop us.
Yeah, that was us. We did stuff like that. The thing that's so interesting to me is I sit there and I think about like Fallout in general, and because I'm playing the Outer Worlds now, and for the record, everybody, Outer Worlds is fan-fucking-tastic. Just wanted to let everybody know. It is. It is great. Excellent. But now, the thing that I started to realize is, so you had Fallout 1 and 2, critically acclaimed CRPGs. That studio was going to make a Fallout 3. It was called Van Buren. And go figure, it actually looked a lot like New Vegas. It was about Caesar's Legion, NCR, all of them. And it was set on the West Coast. And they didn't end up getting to make that because Bethesda got the license. They made Fallout 3 they wanted to make. But then when Obsidian comes in, so it's still the same team that would have been working on the Van Buren project, Fallout New Vegas is basically them going, oh, okay, I guess we'll just make that game, but with the tool set you gave us with the creation engine. And so they just go back and make Fallout 3, basically their version. And Outer Worlds kind of feels like if Obsidian, like what they would have done with a Fallout 4. Because a lot of the same mechanics that they had from 4 are in it. Like you can notice like the way you interact with the environment and everything, and some of the gameplay. It feels a little bit like Fallout 4, but definitely like way better than what they did with Fallout 4. Like, for all of the like there were so many bugs in New Vegas, and it had a lot to do with the limitations of the system they were building and their time constraints. But there are hardly any bugs in Outer Worlds. I was kind of shocked.
Bethesda, known for bugs. Obsidian game, kind of buggy. Well, what happens when you completely separate from Bethesda? We don't have bugs.
Yeah. And what's interesting though, it's not really a one-to-one comparison. I can't really say that it's directly Fallout. It's actually, if you look at the way that they do the missions and everything, the worlds are built a little bit more like, I'd like to say like a Borderlands, or a KOTOR. Other space games that don't feel so big and vast and stuff, but really feel like they're more focused because you land at certain ports of call and there's an area to explore, but it's not necessarily nearly as big a land area as the map of a Fallout 3 or 4 or anything like that. It's not one big contiguous map. It's various locations that are kind of smaller maps that you go to. But in some ways, it ends up working better than what I saw in, like, a No Man's Sky that tried to be, like, so many worlds, procedurally generated all the time. because they can concentrate all of the good stuff into this one area that's concentrated with a bunch of things to do. And so it feels like it's actually a meatier game than most of like those big space games that want to be an entire universe to go and traverse and everything. It's much more concentrated, but then I'm always surprised with the number of ports that you go to and the variety of the locations. Is that it's really good, folks. Just for the record, it's a joy, and this is actually what's interesting. You know how traditionally Fallout was not really very well known for their like shooting mechanics and the actual gameplay aspects of it. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Outer Worlds, not the case. The shooting part works great. It feels great when you're playing it. They have something called TTD, TDD, right? Time dilation device. It basically, when you got unfrozen, you have a problem with your head where occasionally time slows, but you can activate it on command. But it's kind of like that. But it you don't like it doesn't like slow mo and then you pick different parts. But if you just target over certain areas, it will even tell you information about like what this does. Like, oh, if I hit a head, it will blind. If I hit a leg, it cripples. Like, you can actually, it will just tell you while time is slowed down. And then when you take shots, it actually eliminates some of that time dilation meter until you kind of like run out. But it's not like the time doesn't just stop completely and then you choose different targets. You're kind of doing it all through the scope at the same time, and it works like really well, like surprisingly well. But it actually feels more like an actual like it feels good like a shooter should feel, in addition to being a really rich role playing game. So, yeah. I started to realize, like, oh, I guess left to their own devices, Obsidian actually just does a really good job, and I was really happy that they got to do like a project that feels like them, free of all previous mythos from other because they're kind of well known for being like the one who comes in to do the second project. Like New Vegas was Fallout 3's engine. They needed a second game out of it. KOTOR 2, which they did, was KOTOR, but they needed to make a second game out. Neverwinter Nights 2 was the second title. They still need to stretch that out because there was a long dev cycle. But being free of all of that lore and being able to just make their own thing, it's spectacular. And the writing is just, oh my god. Obsidian's writing is just fantastic. Their story and how they do narrative. Ironically, and I think that this is the funny thing, is that there's such a big focus in Outer Worlds about basically late stage capitalism, and that basically these few companies now have a conglomerate board, and basically the board runs everything. And so they've come up with a system now where everybody in these worlds, in this galaxy, pretty much from birth to death, are essentially property of the company. And it's so funny that this happens to be at the same time where you're seeing stuff like this happen, and it almost feels like Obsidian's making a meta commentary about the industry when they're talking about it.
They probably are.
Yeah, they probably are.
Surprised.
Yeah, there's
Also,
go
you
ahead.
may or may not have convinced me to start installing it and having downloaded it right now.
Yeah,
It may be installing on my computer now.
there's just like some of the quests are just like chilling, but also like they have this whole thing where like you can't commit suicide in Outer Worlds because your life is precious and all that. No, because it would be damaging company property. If you do that, you owe the company for damages because you shot yourself. So what happens is that your next of kin have to pay the company for their damaged property.
You know what? I think that's actually an illegal practice. I'm pretty sure you can't charge people for damaging company property.
Well, they found a
there's
way.
In fact, you can do that, but you cannot charge someone's kin for deaths. That's why
Yeah.
faking your own death is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
That's
and why it's heavily investigated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's some great nods too. Like everybody, even like the first guy you meet is like shot, and he's like he's in bad shape, and you can help him out, but he's like, oh, you shouldn't do that because technically Spacer's Choice doesn't want us accepting outside help from non-licensed contractors. Like he's not going to accept medical help because it's not what the company wants. He's going to get in trouble if you actually try to patch him up because you're not working for Spacer's Choice. And even after that, while he's sitting there bleeding, he has to remember what the slogan was because he keeps getting it wrong. It's like it's not the best. Oh, what's the big Spacer's Choice? Oh, you've tried the best. Now try the rest. Spacer's Choice. Oh, good, nailed it. Like while he's bleeding, he's trying to get this. He's trying to make sure that he's getting the slogans right, because everybody has to get the military division in this world is all owned by the companies, so even they have to remember to do the slogans for the company when they're talking to you. It's just it's
horrifying.
It's pretty horrifying. You meet the Spacer's Choice Moon Man at one point, and the dialogue you have with him is so freaking funny because you could just keep asking him how it feels to be in that giant moon helmet all the time, and he's trying so hard not to get in trouble with the company since he's the face of the company. But you can tell he's kind of dying inside because he has to wear this damn thing.
It's so great. I love it. I don't want to be anywhere else. Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty much that. And then he's going, don't forget to buy Vera Cream. It's the creamiest. And one of your companions, if you have Ellie, she's like, uh-oh. That was an Auntie May or whatever it is product, not a Spacer's Choice. And he's like, oh God, no, they're gonna kill me for that. And he's like, ha, got you. You're a terrible person. How dare you?
You don't support the company, therefore you're bad.
Oh my God. I went to this mining
what
colony.
a dystopia that is.
Yeah.
When you have to become a shill for companies to get any sort of living.
Yeah,
by the
that
way,
would
buy Coca-Cola.
By the way, buy
Buy
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola Death Squads.
It's gonna be great. You can really taste the sadness. You know the thing.
Have enough rum in me for this.
I went to this one place. It's like a mining colony that just never got off the ground, and there's this one mining robot, and he's still mining even though everybody else has left. And you can talk to him, and he only has basic speech, but he talks about how this gives his life purpose, and mining is everything to him. And he eventually kind of goes, that is all the thoughts and opinions that I have on mining. Would you like to talk about something else? Like, this is all he's been programmed to say, that he loves mining. And the best part is, like, I walked away and I said, well, it's been very nice to meet you. And this automaton just kind of goes, I have logged this conversation into my data banks forever. Like, he's so happy that somebody stopped and talked to him.
You spoke to me.
Oh my God.
I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. I read because you can go on the logs and you can look at the logs, and if you actually read some of them, they are amazing. They had this one where this guy was obviously trying to talk about, he was in marketing. And for a Spacer's Choice, he's in marketing, and he has this idea of, like, well, you could do like the canned salt tuna. You can do the salt tuna, but you could have a light variant, and the light variant, could sell for something else, because that's a different market. And the response that he gets back from his superiors are, well, the company doesn't really think that necessarily branding a light would be very good, because then we're competing against ourselves. But the company did really like the idea of putting less product in the salt tuna cans, so we're going to make weighted cans with less actual salt tuna, we can actually save like a few bits on every single can. And
They would.
but the
They
best
would.
but then this is the best part. Now, and in order to implement that, we think that you would be best served being directly on the ground floor at the cannery. So effective immediately, you have been taken off of the marketing team. You've been relieved of your position there, and you are to report to the cannery in the morning. Your equipment will be deducted from your paycheck, and like, yay, thank you. I get to be on the cannery floor instead of the marketing department. But it's like I can totally see that being a thing. Like I can absolutely believe that they're like, yeah, we're gonna move this guy off. He gave us a good idea, but now we don't want him around. Here, go onto the cannery floor. Enjoy. There's just so many great things. Rental fees for your grave site that you have to pay. Tons of just really biting satire about the problem if you had just corporations just run the show. It's just brilliant. All the
Wow,
characters
you're
are
making
really...
it sound like it could be a bad idea. Weird. It's almost like okay. I'm not gonna state the obvious of profit. A company that doesn't care about human lives wanting only profit would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that, what would happen if your life was driven by explicitly profit? Would you be alive?
Are you
No.
saying that Obsidian may have had the idea of kind of just giving a middle finger to Bethesda when they made this whole thing?
Well, I don't know.
No,
Maybe
never.
the obsidian skull item is a clue. Forged under immense pressure.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. The obsidian skull. I think that it's just when they're marketing it and they're like from the creators of the original Fallout and Fallout New Vegas, remember those Fallout games, folks? Like they make it very clear what they've done. And they don't mention any other Fallout games. They like don't mention 3 and they don't mention 4 and they don't mention Bethesda very much. But they do seem to, and some people have floated the idea that like Bethesda may have dropped that whole stuff about Fallout First to coincide with the Outer Worlds dropping, to try and take media attention away from Outer Worlds because they were worried about like, if Obsidian can actually make a game like this that's good, that's just out of the box good, it's gonna make us look bad. It's like, yeah.
I mean, they can make themselves look bad.
Well,
Sorry, we have a new puppy, and he woke up and decided that something offended him.
that's okay. We're all offended right now. But no, you're right, Alice. I mean, Bethesda has definitely done a good job at cutting off their nose to spite their face. They've been doing a great job of that. But I think that they were...
It's impressive, really.
It's really amazing how well they've done it. They've done it multiple times, too. Really awesome.
It's a skill.
It's a skill.
Honestly, it's like they're taking
It's a
slivers
feature.
off the nose.
It's not a bug. It's a feature. Cutting off your
It's a
nose to
different
spite your
skill.
face sounds like a bug that would be in Fallout 76. I can totally see that. But I think...
Just cutting off your nose seems like a bug that would be in 76.
Yeah.
You don't
Probably a
need those.
Skyrim mod.
Yeah. But
I mean, someone would.
I do see like where a lot of people have said that I've seen too many people now that have said that like Outer Worlds should definitely scare Bethesda because it speaks to a different company being able to do essentially what Bethesda does but better, and in some ways what like BioWare did but better. And you know what? I'm glad because they need to get their acts they need to get their act in gear. And they need to understand that this stuff can't stand. You can make a really great top-tier game, and it can be fun, and it can be great out of the gate, and the model is people pay for that thing, and they get that thing. And that's what we used to do. And then... I don't know
But
what happened. Yeah.
Kids, back in my day, we used to pay for a game and then get the game that we paid for.
Yeah. Remember way back in my
No,
day.
that seems like a lie.
Yeah. No,
I know,
believe me, Alex, I tell you, the promised land is real. It happened. It was marvelous. We before
I
all the
once bought a game for $60, and that was the whole game. It was a good game.
You bought it, and it was there. We struck gold, digital gold. You know, the thing about it, way before they did loot boxes, I will actually make mention to, we did have a vote in that poll, and it came courtesy of Crits McCrits, for the I Got Something Better, and his response was, and it's hard to argue, EA. Because it's a. I guess the thing is that the reason I didn't put EA on that particular list was very simply, they haven't currently been up to any tomfoolery.
In the last week or two, maybe.
In the last week or two.
Last week.
If you look at like the month, they've actually. I think this is actually smart on EA's part. They've been keeping kind of quiet. Probably because they're realizing, oh wow, there are other companies vying for our most hated company spot. Maybe we should shut the hell up and not try.
No, don't worry. They'll still bite themselves in the ass.
They'll do that. Actually,
mainly because it'll make them a couple cents.
Yeah, it will. They'll put a loot box in it. No, what they'll do is they'll take the game that might actually help redeem them if they want to try being redeemed, like Fallen Order, which people are saying was actually, although I think that that's really them saying we want to keep the Star Wars license, and Battlefront 2 was so bad that we are at risk of losing it. And so we got to make a good game real fast. And they gave it to Respawn, who's a great company. I really love the stuff that Respawn does. They still make good stuff, even though they're in EA. Somehow they still manage to make good games. And
they fight the urge.
They fight. Well, I think it's just mostly that Respawn is so under the radar usually that EA doesn't think too much of it. Like when they did Titanfall, I don't really think it was like a big thing for their release schedule. And then Apex Legends was just like completely out of the blue. Like they launched it the same week that Anthem was coming out because they were totally concentrating on Anthem. And like this is BioWare. Yeah. I could go on about Anthem for a while. But that's a whole other thing. Why did you want BioWare to make Destiny? You don't have them try to make Destiny.
Why?
And just,
why would you make a single-player focused company?
Try to make an online shooter thing? Like, and the saddest thing about that whole thing about Anthem is if BioWare had just said, this is a vision we have for a game, and they had that like 6-7 year development cycle to make that game, it would be a masterpiece.
That's far too long of a dev cycle for people
these days. Wouldn't have even needed that. No, but I'm saying that if they had that much time and resources devoted to a project that they had a focused effort on at the beginning of what they wanted to make as this grandiose game, it would be an absolute masterpiece of role-playing. But
I will say, Anthem has a really fun gameplay core of being Iron Man.
Yeah, and you know what? I liked that. Ironically, I didn't mind the gameplay so much, but it was not a BioWare game for me. It just didn't feel right in my hands when I was playing it. There was no story, there were no consequences, I didn't feel any character development. It just kind of felt lifeless. But I got an Iron Man suit, so I guess. But I
am Iron Man.
Yeah, of course the ironic thing is that they make you do all of this facial customization at the beginning. And then and then you're in a friggin' suit most of the time. And I chose like the Colossus like character with the thing. And even in cutscenes, I have this giant ass armor piece covering my face. So like, there was absolutely no reason for me to have. I think I saw my face in like one cutscene. The rest of the time, it is completely obscured the entire way through. But like, and I have to say, it is kind of impressive that considering they only really worked on the actual game for about like a year and a half of that cycle. The amount they got done is pretty impressive, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But you know,
I'm shocked.
yeah. But you know, damn it. Yeah. That's a whole other thing.
It's weird. It's almost like if you had an actual reasonable amount of development time, you might have gotten further.
Right?
Yeah. And had
Shocking, I know.
and had an idea of what you wanted to make, because that's essentially what all came out about Anthem, is that no one really knew what the hell they were making for the majority of that time, and so many times they would do stuff and then they had to scrap it because somebody else had an idea of what they were going to do instead of what they originally planned. And so there was just so many false starts for like 6 years that they didn't really have much of a game. And it was supposed to come out. Like, it's supposed to come out at a certain time. And it's also a cautionary tale about, like, the live service model of, don't worry about what the game is when it launches, folks, because it will get better. No, and it's looking
That's
like...
not how that works.
Yeah, it's looking like it's basically not going to be better, and it's not even going to be updated.
Well, it will be better. It'll function better, but better in that better, just general running is for the QA team to see, not for your customers.
Yeah, exactly. They had announced like the last person, I guess, that was supposed to be heading the Anthem support team has just left BioWare. so
yes.
Yeah,
I heard about that.
So hey, the Cataclysm came out and it was nowhere near what it looked like in the demos. And hey, it's not like a storm that ravages the landscape. It's a light shower. So enjoy that. That was great. Yeah, it's really looking like there's not much more to it, but yeah, showers are great though, right, Alex? I mean, I like taking a shower.
Yeah, as long as they're light.
As long as they're light. Yeah, I don't want. I want just a nice stiff mist in my face.
These damn showers prevented me from clearing my freaking leaves for like a week.
Yeah.
Like, last Sunday, I went, okay, I'm going to clear my leaves. I look outside, it's pouring.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I'll just deal with it when it dries up.
Yeah.
1 week later.
Yeah.
It seriously took a week for it to stop freaking raining.
Yeah.
What the shit, New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that sometimes.
Well, it's if you don't like the weather in New Hampshire, then just wait a few minutes, just like we were talking
Well, I
about
tried, and
earlier.
it was still raining.
Yeah.
If you don't like the weather in New Hampshire, just go to Maine.
No, if you don't like the weather in New Hampshire, change your damn attitude toward the weather. Apparently,
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
It's wait 10 minutes. Oh wait, it's raining differently. Thanks, New Hampshire.
Thanks. It's raining in a different direction. We
Yeah.
we you put the screen up to try and avoid. Oh no, it's coming in the other window. Great, thanks for that.
How does this even
That has happened to
happen?
me more than once.
It's us.
Like when you make a fire. Oh, the smoke's coming into my face. I'm just gonna move to this side. 2 minutes later.
Yep.
Oh wait, now the wind's in this direction. Fuck
Enjoy.
you.
Enjoy. It's
So I
great.
am very stubborn about where I sit when I make a fire. I'm like, no, I'm here. I'm gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. But or hey, if you want a nuclear fire, you could try to launch off a bunch of nukes in Fallout 76 and crash the server. Do
Well,
that.
if I wanted a real dumpster fire, I could just be head of development for 76. So
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that a game that had already lost like 75% of its fan base or whatever it was, and also like 75% of its market value because I think that you could buy it on sale like for $20 at some places. Would not be trying to sell a really expensive ass. Whatever. Anyway, that's that's a whole other thing.
We could insult 76 all day if we wanted to, but we
Sure
won't.
could.
we could 6976 as long as we possibly can.
No, I do
No,
not.
actually, we don't want to
listen,
do
I
that.
am not the person who wants 76's dick in my mouth.
You don't want that giant mutated sloth to, like, you
No.
know, take you out
Awkward.
to a nice Nuka-Cola and
Okay, the sloth I'll accept more than Bethesda. Okay.
okay, fair enough. So there was that. I will say, I will say that like EA, I did look up what was going on with EA because I was like, maybe EA's done something recently. The big news about EA is basically that their apparently Origins didn't work out so well for them as a
Oh,
as
really?
a game service, so they're actually moving their stuff back to Steam. So they're rejoining
Oh.
Steam. Yeah.
That's odd. Wait,
Yeah.
whoa.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Of all the companies I expected to not give up on the hey, this slightly maximizes our profit thing, EA was the one I would expect.
Yeah.
I guess that proved that a shit ton of launchers doesn't work out for us.
Yeah.
Maybe the streaming services should get a hold of that.
No. Disney Plus coming soon. You know,
More pirating coming soon. Wait,
more
what?
pirating coming soon. No, I think it might eventually come out, and I don't know this, but I have a feeling you can almost imagine that somebody's eventually going to get the story that Origins might not have been very profitable for them at all. And they started to realize that maybe it actually just makes more sense for having just Steam deal with it themselves, and then it kind of is like a service that they don't have to directly input themselves into. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
it really comes down to the question:
yeah,
was Steam taking a load of work off of them,
right,
even if the profits weren't as direct?
right, and that's a good question. I don't really know, because I don't run a game download service. I don't engage in the console wars of the computer era. But and as far as I'm concerned, if I can get it on GOG, I'd prefer to get it there anyway, because no DRM. I'd prefer to get it there. But the thing about it is that like I, if Epic, like, yeah, we can get into a whole Epic discussion too, but like Epic has to do a little bit more for like their game store than just say we're gonna try to buy exclusives all the time. Like, I don't know, maybe eventually give them a damn shopping cart. Oh my god, Epic, why is
They
this
don't
such
have
a big
shopping cart?
no?
I bought 2 games on Epic's. No, I bought 1 game on Epic's store, and it was Outer Worlds, and I didn't care.
Yeah. Well, I know it's like, I play on Xbox, so it doesn't really bother me. But if I wanted to play either Outer Worlds or Borderlands 3, which are the 2 games right now that I actually give a damn about, I'd have to buy them through Epic. Even though
Mo's money,
Epic
Mo
Store
Mo's
sucks.
problems.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, it's Mo Levels. Oh wait, no, I can't remember. Damn it, I can't remember the title of that series. I've been watching it, and I'm like, wait,
Oh.
what's the title? I can't remember anymore.
What is it? There's a series? Oh god.
There's a series? Oh boy.
Man.
Y'all been doing it on YouTube. Every time on YouTube, I go, "Ooh, that's neat."
Yeah. I thought it would be a fun idea to do a series about Borderlands. And
It is.
yeah. No one really
I
watched
find
it.
it entertaining.
Yeah, oh good. Good. I did start to realize early on that doing it like one level at a time was gonna be a long haul. So
I
I
yeah,
made a
it's one of
mistake.
those things where you level up quickly. It's more of just, hey, this is what I've done in these next 4 levels.
Yeah. Well, my original thought was, oh, this is good. I can do like a small video and I can put out like one a day because, I'm sure that's good for an algorithm. Shorter videos people are likely to watch and just more of them probably is good. But then I started to realize, oh my god, what is the level cap on this damn thing? Because even if I put out one a day, every single day, it's gonna be like 2 damn months before. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a problem. I'm gonna have to go 5 levels at a time. So that's when.
Mo's money, Mo's problems.
Yeah, Mo's money's Mo's problems. And, so then I was like, okay, 5 levels at a time. I think this makes a little bit more sense. I, but I did learn my lesson after that. I probably won't try that again with another game.
The worst part for me is I haven't been able to watch the last few episodes on the sole basis of I've been working, and then all of a sudden it's just, oh, I can't listen to anything right now because I'm either in meetings or like I get back to my desk, I played a song, and I haven't done anything since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn you, real life work.
Yeah.
Curses you, real life work.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that level by level will probably be the only time I try to do that. I'll do different kinds of things in the future. I have one idea for a video that I still occasionally do attempting to play, but, it's kind of whatever I feel about making at the time. But I played a really crappy game, or not a crappy game, but a really dull game, and so I thought,
one.
Yeah. So anyway, exclusive is that I'm gonna be putting together a fun video in the can you beat vein, because I know that those are big now, and it's can you beat Bolt without hating yourself, because I can tell you it is a challenge if you really want to. Bolt, the movie tie-in game from 10 years ago. I played it. I beat it. If you want to find out if I hated myself at the end of it, you're gonna have to watch the video. So.
Well, I know you just well enough to know the answer.
Yeah.
Nathan hates himself already, so I don't think this is a fair.
Hey,
Well,
shush.
Well,
Spoilers!
well, yeah. I guess you're gonna have to find out, Alex. I had a sliding scale.
Maybe he learned to love himself during this. You don't know that.
It's,
I've known
what?
Nathan a pretty long time. I think.
Okay,
I know
that's
You've
Spoilers.
known me your whole life, and so he's pretty aware of how I feel about that. But you know
About
what?
yourself? Yes.
Yes.
I do.
But I started to realize, like, oh yeah, like Senza and Mitten Squad and all of them, they do a lot of the can you beat kind of things, and I was like, oh, I could do that, but my take is that it is going to be nothing about in-game challenges. It's going to be esoteric stuff like, can you do something without questioning the actual extent of humanity or the life choices that you've made therein? Stuff
the
like
nature
that.
of existence.
Yeah, without contemplate the nature, or questioning the life decisions that you've made, or yeah, to that vein.
Acknowledging the mistakes of your past.
Yeah, it's like that. That's the kind of video that I can absolutely make. I had this one weird idea for a video. I was thinking about, like, could you beat civilization as Donald Trump? I thought that was an interesting idea for a video. And it's like, if you
You
just
make it to second
I could probably.
by sucking enough dick.
Yeah, I kind of thought to myself, if I just tried to get into the mindset of how policy works, and I just played like a civilization or one of those city building things, would everything be on fire at the end? I could just imagine like this whole thing about like,
Hopefully.
I don't care anything about the infrastructure as long as I get my damn wall built so that I can keep like India off of my border or something. Because Gandhi's looking at me funny, and I don't like
Gandhi
it.
would wreck you with so many nukes.
Gandhi always is such a power player.
Freaking glitch exists.
And they kept it and they added it into future games too.
Yes. on
And you know
purpose.
what? Good for
Eventually,
them.
Gandhi will go full nuke.
Yes, Gandhi is for people who are not familiar with the Civilization series, you can play different kinds of leaders throughout history, and you can play Gandhi, but the AI for Gandhi is a dick.
No. The AI for Gandhi had a bug back in its original creation where its pacifism level went from 0 back to the maximum.
Yeah.
So you'd
Yeah.
be talking to Gandhi, and he's like, "Yes, I would like to keep peace with you." I almost did an Indian accent, but that would be been foolish.
That would've been incredibly
I'd like to
racist.
keep peace, and then the second you got him more peaceful, the actual number in the code
Yeah.
accidentally overflowed and set to maximum. He went, "Peace, peace, peace, nukes."
Yeah.
Instantly nuking.
Yeah. And
Full nuclear.
yeah. That
And
reminds.
then they kept it so Gandhi would randomly come super aggressive on you.
Yeah, that's pretty great. It kind of reminds me of there was a glitch in. Oh, actually, this was an Obsidian game, but it was KOTOR 2, where you could do a dialogue choice with Hanhar, who was like the evil Wookiee character that was with you. And you could just keep doing it and doing like a strength check over and over and over again. And it would keep pushing him into like ultra dark side, but it would keep giving him way too many skill points to the point that it went past a negative. And all of a sudden, like, his intelligence. Yeah, that's right. It would raise his strength 1 and it would decrease his intelligence by 1. But then if you get him past 0 intelligence, it then springboards and he all of a sudden has like 1,000 intelligence. And so you get so many skill points every time he levels up, you can max out everything he has instantaneously on level 1. And I was like,
"That's amazing."
It's a great bug that they
Perfect
had.
system.
That
Nothing could go wrong.
Yeah, where you just like drive him to such. And in the meantime, after the intelligence goes like through the roof, his strength is still going up at the same time. So
Seems reasonable.
yeah,
You're my kind of character, a high strength, high int.
yeah, high strength, high end. You never see those
play
D&D
way-
characters.
I play way too many Eldritch Knights.
Yeah,
Sounds legit.
yeah.
They're
I
so
can see
fun. Listen,
Okay.
My real life character who is maxed, has put all their points into int and Constitution somehow.
Wow.
That's just the I don't know how that is. Real life is weird. I'm the smartest barbarian you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
Sounds about right.
that sounds good.
I believe it.
I like to be a smart barbarian all the time.
I'm just a bard. What?
I'm just a bard looking at a girl, asking her to love me. And it's not working because I'm a bard. But
Well, hey,
Bards don't ask girls to love them.
60% of the time it works every time for the bard.
yes,
This is accurate.
Yes, that is true. Also for the record, so EA. So okay. Anyway, EA. Because I wanted Crits to have his moment in the sun. So thank you, Crits. I do understand that EA is more of a perpetual. EA is more like a perpetual cyst that's on your back rather than an emergency bleeding situation. It's always there and it's always a pain, but in the moment of our time, it's probably not the priority that we're dealing with. But yeah, long term, their policies have been really bad for gaming. And I think what's interesting is that there's a lot of talk right now that was happening with like Fallen Order that it is Respawn and it is kind of single player focused and it's actually a lot more open world and character driven than people thought, because originally I saw it and I was like, oh, it's Force Unleashed. It apparently is a lot more than that. And they're really good with story in that studio. And they say that they're not doing anything with like microtransactions and stuff, and it almost feels like EA thinks this is their redemption arc. Like this is gonna be where they get.
No, we don't have microtransactions in this game. EA, are you lying to me? No.
There's surprise
what's your plan?
mechanics.
We have other
Yeah.
things in mind. Are they
Mhm.
other exploitative business practices?
Maybe.
Buy our new
No.
game.
Would you like a slot machine? Would you like You know, the thing about it
They
is
literally put a slot machine in their game.
I am going to make it very clear though. EA, I am never going to applaud you for not including those things because you're the ones who started it in the first place.
You showed if we put this in a moderately usable game and make it decently blind to parents, we can make a lot of money.
Yes.
I do like money.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think 2K is also in that boat. 2K is they're having some fun too because like basically their NBA games are just slot machines now. Sports are pretty much out of it.
They literally advertise them like slot machines.
And
there's a slot machine in the game.
Yeah, it's
a literal slot machine. It's kind of terrifying.
The 2K game we have to talk about. WWE 2K20. Holy
Do we have to talk about it?
Shit. Like, I don't follow wrestling. I'm never gonna follow wrestling. I like the only time I ever care is like, oh, The Rock's back for 5 seconds, and he and the Man to like regained the crown or something.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like, oh, okay. It's like, all right, yeah. And like, I didn't know who the Man was or why she was important or anything, and like, all right.
Good looking lady kicking ass on my book. Good.
Yeah. This is good. I guess because she competes against the men in the tournament, so she called herself the Man, so she could be in the man. Like I don't know anything about wrestling, but sometimes like I see stuff happening in wrestling, like when the really famous boxer actually went and fought in the ring because I guess he probably found it was so much fun, to actually do that.
That's really what happens in pro wrestling is someone goes, hey, I'm an actual fighter. Can I join you guys? And they go,
Yeah.
Sure, you just can't actually fight.
Yeah, you can't actually
But I'm a real fighter, so you're going to give me a few rounds of yes. Yeah, you're totally good for the first few months. And then if you stick with us, you turn into a heel.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. I think it was Floyd Mayweather, actually. He got it, and he did the chair thing and everything, and I was like, oh, he must have he was doing that against Big Show. And I was like, oh, he probably had.
He is 100% the person who would love to become a heel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Kurt Angle was a heel, and he was an Olympic wrestler. Like he was an actual Olympic wrestler.
Yeah, he was. That was one of the weirder things to learn. Where I went, oh, that's not a title he has. Right? He's literally an Olympic gold wrestler.
Yeah. It was literally he literally won a gold medal at the Olympics, and I was like, wow. But I kind of understood it at the same time because I was like, well, what kind of career do wrestlers have after the Olympics? Like, there's not a lot of like Olympic exhibitions or like stuff like that, you know. You gotta. It's the reason why, like, figure skaters and those, like, after the Olympics, you have to kind of do shows and stuff like that because competitive figure skating isn't really a big thing outside of that arena. Like, it's a weird deal. But anyway, 2K20. Go and watch some of the absolutely amazing glitch compilations for 2K20 because holy shit, the fact that they could release this game in this kind of state
is a strong word.
Yeah, it really is. I have no idea how they thought this was gonna work, but they released it, and even with the giant day one patch that I believe they had, it's still ridiculous stupid what they put in.
Very bad and broken. Though I did hear a fun theory on what's happening.
Really? What's that?
Theory? Is it a game theory?
No, thankfully.
Oh,
sorry.
It's a business theory.
Okay.
There's 2K's been using the WWE license for a while. and they
Mhm.
paid for it years ago, and they have to pay a certain amount for a while.
Yeah.
So they don't the amount of effort they've had to put in, especially with the company that had been making these games leaving.
Yeah.
That company left last year, I think.
Mhm.
I think it was last year after 2K19 for WWE. They had left.
Sure.
Um,
Yes.
so they had to pick up they had to use an in-house studio, and this
Mhm.
in-house studio, of course, was nowhere near ready to work on that level of polish.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Mhm.
There's a secondary theory that states they didn't push it out
Hmm.
because with the loss of UK, the studio that did a lot of the work on it,
Oh yeah.
um, it would be more profitable for them to just bleed this dry than to actually work on a good game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's only going to sell 1.5 million units, but we didn't put any effort into it whatsoever.
Right.
So who cares?
Yeah. They basically did they basically just dumped it and they were like, "Well, we didn't put any work in.
Oh well.
So whatever." But the problem is that I always feel like it's gonna
WWE
hurt
will
their
take it
company
back,
down the
whatever.
line. I feel like when people see this, they're going to then assume that 2K is going to keep releasing crap because people remember the
They
North.
do, but 2K has that weird market where they don't have
Mm,
normal game customers. They don't have people the normal setup of, ah, yes, I remember 2K made this 17 games.
yeah,
They remember 2K made last year's sport game.
right, right. But
And
then
they have such a weird market.
yeah, it's also weird because I could not tell you for the most part which game I had played that was made by 2K or EA for the sports titles. Because occasionally I will try them
EA
just to see.
Sports. It's in the game.
It's in the game, yeah. But to be honest with you, I literally cannot tell you what the basketball game. I tried a basketball game and I do not remember if it was a basketball game made by EA or made by 2K. Nor did I really care. like it didn't really matter to me. I just knew if I liked it or I didn't like it. I didn't really like it all that much because it had a lot of pay to win mechanics, which does not disclude either of these companies from
That's
being. That's
depressing. So depressing.
depressing and accurate. It really is. But anyway, yeah, a lot of hilarious glitches. But I think what makes it less hilarious is that people were not happy because they had to actually pay for this shit. They had to pay a lot of money for it to get a buggy, glitchy mess. And apparently, was it Steam? I want to say Steam usually doesn't do refunds. One of them was like,
PlayStation. I
or
think, was the big
PlayStation. That's
one.
right. PlayStation doesn't usually do refunds, but they are offering refunds for this game because they were like, "Oh yeah, we are so sorry you got
This
screwed
is a
over."
bad game. We shouldn't have sold this to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, which good for PlayStation, like good for
Right?
Sony at least stepping up and saying, oh, yeah,
Oh, that's bad. Sorry.
sorry about that. Yeah. What I had
Wait,
heard, what I had heard about the game though was that like there was the studio that was making it through like 2K19. And then when they got to 2K20, their contract was like up, and what 2K was thinking was, oh, we could make this in house. It's not that hard. Like we could do it. We'll just do it ourselves. and you can imagine
how
that the
hard can game development be,
yeah,
really?
and you could just imagine that the folks that were working on the previous WWE titles are laughing their asses off now. Like,
I imagine UK thinks this is the funniest
oh
shit in the world. Like,
yeah,
yeah, 2K went, oh, come on. How hard can it be to replace a company that has been developing the same type of game for 25 years?
it's just a wrestling game. It's not hard, right? It's all done there. Yeah.
They touch, push, and it's fine. No, it's not.
They showed The Rock in the new game, compared to like last year's game, The Rock looks fine. The Rock looks like The Rock. And in this one, it looks like they pasted his face on from like somebody said it looked like the Scorpion King when the bad CGI from the Scorpion King. That's how it looks now. And it's like the characters are not supposed to look worse in the next year than they did the previous year. That is not how this
I will
works.
admit that's probably entirely due to the fact that they had to put this entire development cycle on an in-house studio that was not ready to handle it.
No.
But at the same time, why did you make 2K20?
Yeah.
If you knew for a fact that your 25 years of experience company wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
You know.
Reasons.
Money.
It seemed like it's going to make some money.
Greed.
Yeah.
It's going to make enough money for us to let this other, and it's going to train the new company. It's like, it's, trial by fire. Yeah. Because, training your new employees by throwing them into the worst possible situation works every time.
Yes.
Even if you keep that situation as a constant so that they never become comfortable with what they're doing. So they're always under stress and they never actually adapt to anything. They just constantly try to adapt to the current situation in case it gets any worse.
God. That was a sentence.
I'm not a bitter tech engineer. Shut up.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
No, never. Not once. What? Who are you?
Never. Not once.
I'm not bitter. Shut up.
Okay. Yeah, views expressed on this show are not indicative of the... I feel like
Free Hong Kong.
I feel like I have to do...
I am not an official member of the DelveCast crew. My opinions do not actually represent the official opinions of DelveCast. Free Hong Kong. And
also free Hong Kong. I'm gonna wear a mask right now. I'm gonna make a meme where Winnie the Pooh is wearing a mask with a free Hong Kong shirt that's just like the half shirt that he normally wears, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna wear it outside BlizzCon. So anyway,
stop choking on my own stupid jokes.
We're so yeah, 2K, you're also on notice. But you might have noticed that in that poll, no one said Ubisoft, and honestly, I think I threw it in there because stuff was coming out about Ubisoft, and I didn't know if it was going to be a big thing in the next week. And Ubisoft's problems are really just like, it's not really so much an assault on the gaming community as it is that they're having a hard time right now, but it's kind of their own damn fault. But what's going on with Ubisoft is basically, so they released Ghost Recon Breakpoint and everybody hated it. and
Does anyone the old school Assassin's Creed where it's like, yeah, there's too many objectives here, but at least you get to sneakily kill people.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently Breakpoint, not good. I don't really have any interest in I've played so many Ubisoft games, but it's like I didn't really get into Wildlands. Ghost Recon has never been like something I had much appeal to play. Why don't you just go back to making Splinter Cell? Ubisoft, just go back to Splinter Cell. Okay, anyway, it takes them forever.
You're not bitter.
No.
Not once.
Like I've played,
No,
I have played every Assassin's Creed game, but come on.
I have not.
I
have very explicitly. So I used to, up to 4, I was like, I play every Assassin's Creed game, and then 2 Assassin's Creed games came out. One was a story-based development on the existing characters and world they had played, and one was a graphical overhaul that failed miserably.
Yep.
I bought the cool one that was like, shit combat and all the stuff you liked, and the stories in a weird conclusion that makes you, on a bittersweet conclusion that makes you feel really conflicted about your involvement.
Yep.
I was like, that's hell yeah, that makes me feel awful. Well done, Ubisoft.
You bought Rogue.
Rogue, yes.
Yep.
They released at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
They really did.
Why not take the year?
Yeah,
take the year and release another.
That was peak Assassin's Creed. that was the peak saturation for that series, where they're releasing two
And-
games at the same time.
Yeah, you don't
And-
do that.
No.
I wish they had taken that extra year. I think
Oh, yeah.
Unity would have been amazing if they had done that, but they didn't. They put more effort into Unity than they put into Rogue.
Which is
Rogue was-
ironic, because
Yeah.
it was not the better game out of the two.
Rogue was the better game,
Yep.
even though it was using the older engine. It had, I'll be honest, it didn't have as good writing, but
No.
it was compelling, it was interesting, and had an actual plot.
Yep.
Rather than, hey, my girlfriend's on the opposite side of this secret history, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of conflicted about this.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the whole thing, I did appreciate that the two games actually are interlinked. Like, the story in Rogue ends where Unity starts, and
Yeah.
so you can kind of see the motivation from one to the other, but it's kind of tangent. Like, I didn't really need it. It was kind of tangential.
Also, you could have done that as, hey, the game we release next year will be tangentially released.
Oh yeah, they could have
so-
easily done that, and I don't really understand their thinking. And eventually they had to go back to the drawing board. It's the reason why Origins had a longer development cycle, and it's the reason why they're taking like 2 years to do the next one, because I think they've started to get into the habit of kind of like going, oh man, we're releasing these pretty close together, and annualized series are only going to take us so far. But then again, with Breakpoint, they talked to some of the people that were at Ubisoft, and their response was they think the problem was that they released this game too soon to the last Ghost Recon. And that's not really the problem. It's that the game was not good. And it's like, no, that's not the problem. It's because I was
That's not
watching.
how this works, it turns out.
Yeah, I was watching. I think it was Angry Joe, and I think Alex was on that Alex on that show, not this Alex.
Nope, I didn't do it. It
No,
wasn't
you
me.
didn't do it. But he was saying
Are you
like
cheating on him with another Alex?
he was
Seriously.
but
What
yeah,
is this bullshit?
sorry, the other Alex on that show who's cool. Him. He,
Oof.
Motherfucker.
anyway,
I mean, he's not wrong, but oof.
yeah, but anyway, what he was saying is like if they released a Red Dead Redemption 2 and they released one every 6 months, he would buy it every 6 months if it was a game of that quality that was that good. If it was a game he legitimately liked, that he wanted, that was big and rich and interesting, he
But
would
it's
be
not
fine
going
with
to be, 'cause
buying
that's
that.
not how that works.
No, it's not. But I think
Tell the games to get good.
yeah, the point that I think he was trying to make was it's not about the timetable. People aren't buying it because they just bought another Ghost Recon game. They're not buying it
Yes.
because the game's not good.
Yeah, that is true. If there was a Red Dead game made
Mhm.
every 6 months of the quality that Red Dead 2 had,
Yeah.
besides my immense concern for the developers, I would probably buy it.
Yeah.
I would have a great deal of concern. Like, holy crap, how many sweatshops have you opened? But
How much are you paying these devs now?
you're paying
Well-
them ludicrous amounts to work all hours of the day? Okay, I'll accept this.
Yeah. Well, especially
Otherwise,
especially when you consider it would be Rockstar, and that's a whole subject into and of itself. Because
yeah,
their
Whole-
practices, Jesus,
their
there's
whole
a-
practice on crunch.
oh my
but-
God,
Regardless,
and their
yeah, I'm with them. Like,
and their
if,
culture.
if every 6 months
Yeah.
the game was interesting and
Yeah.
unique, and
Yeah.
it's the same universe, but it's still good.
Yeah,
I would too.
Yeah.
I would totally.
I would buy a good game regardless of when it came out, even in relation to other good games.
Yeah.
Like I would still
I
want
don't
to play
care
it.
that there's
Yeah.
similar games that you guys just released, because this is a new. I finished that game
Yeah, yeah,
very recently. Yeah, within 6 months. Good.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't always buy games right away, but if it's a game that I really, really, really like, I'm gonna try to get a hold of it, like a game that I have a
I-
real interest in.
Yeah, I almost never buy games right when they come out.
I know,
Right.
I know you don't. You wait a while, but it's smart.
The exception is usually like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, WoW has a new thing. You gotta get on that WoW right away. So there's that. Um,
Oh wow! 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 Wow!
Wow.
Wow! Wow!
wow.
What
That's-
just happens?
That's okay. Hey, everybody, don't worry. Don't worry about what happened.
Don't worry, Owen Wilson. We're not actually insulting you.
Wow. No, don't worry.
Wow.
Free
I think
Hong
we are.
Kong.
That is my favorite part of this episode. Is just the random free Hong Kongs.
Free Hong Kong.
China's gonna
But-
shut this show down.
Oh
But-
no!
No.
It's
Don't.
not like
don't-
they
don't-
don't. But
Yes.
our entire market was in China.
Yeah,
It's,
darn
The
it.
entire market is in China. But
Yeah.
that's not
no,
the
no.
point.
Yeah.
Enough of the market is in China.
Enough of
That-
the market.
There's a
Too
distinct
much of the
difference.
market.
Too much of the
Too
market
much of
is
the
in
market's
China.
in China.
And we have to change to accommodate them. But don't worry about the whole thing about Hong Kong, folks, because we gave you a Diablo 4 trailer, so enjoy. And we're going to change auction houses now. Aren't you happy? Please don't be angry with us anymore.
I'm still so upset with the fact that like I watched the internet kind of go, Overwatch 2. Like, no, that's not
Yeah,
a
and
good thing. That's
you know what-
actually probably a worse thing.
Yeah.
It's not even a new game. It's literally them going, "Hey, will you give us money
Yeah. You know
for
what?
the game you already played?"
I just want Overwatch 2 to have a skin for May that is her with the mask on that has free Hong Kong.
I would pay.
I would pay
legitimately
money.
Pay Blizzard
Pay
if they
money.
did that. I would log on to Overwatch for the first time in the year if they did that
Mhm.
because that's hilarious.
That would be
And
amazing.
also, it comes into their bottom line to make a statement like that,
Yeah.
and I respect the stupidity of that.
Yeah. I like it. I love it. Why won't you do that? Come on, Blizzard.
Blizzard, do dumber things.
Do that. Do that. Yeah, do dumb things. We
I
appreciate
mean,
that.
they're already squishing the levels in WoW back down to level 60 cap. So.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God, that's
Well, I
great.
mean, to be fair,
Do you
that's
really
not a
need it
terrible
to-
thing necessarily. It's
Do
not a
you
terrible.
really-
Where our cap is at 120 right now.
Mm.
Oh
And so
wow.
it-
Okay.
So it's more like it's like when they do the number crunch before, where
Yeah.
people
I'll be honest.
had.
I've never played WoW.
That's fair. So before they did a number crunch, because people were having like 1 to 2 million hit points, and they're
Mm.
like, "Yeah, we're gonna remove a bunch of zeros. So we're gonna crush all this down, so it makes a lot more sense, and it's not fucking ridiculous. You don't have bosses sitting there with 2 billion hit points. It's out of hand. So they
Mhm.
took and crunched everything down. They reduced the stats a bit and then made everything a lot more manageable. Even so, my Death Knight I'm playing on currently is at 299k for hit points.
Mm. Mhm.
And I'm not a tank. So it's like, they just, once in a while they'll crunch the numbers down. But they're crunching the levels too, because I guess they want to revamp the leveling system so that every single level actually feels like you're getting something, which
Mm.
makes sense.
Fair.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah, that had expanded
Um,
out so far. I was like,
So it's
wow.
kind of like what I feel like D&D 5e did something similar, or maybe it was 4e. One of the D&D editions are like, yeah, we're gonna give you
5e,
something
5e.
every level. Yeah,
Oh,
you're right. I
5e,
think
yeah.
it's 5e.
Yeah,
but yeah,
5e
where it's
pretty
like
much
a-
gives you something every level. Yeah.
So hopefully it'll eliminate a ton of dead levels
Yeah.
where
yeah,
you don't get anything, and hopefully they'll redo the talent system, which would be really nice.
That would be
So,
good. But what was I saying? Oh, right. The thing about Ubisoft though that had gotten me to put it on that list was that because of the fact that Breakpoint was not good and people didn't like it and they actually the action they ended up taking was they pushed their like entire release schedule back for basically every game they have in development.
Oh.
Yeah, they pushed everything back. So the new Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, everything basically they had in the pipeline, they have pushed back basically into like quarter 3 of 2020. because their general thought process was, oh, we need to put more time in on these because this is not good. And they've been suffering some pretty big loss, a lot of fallout from the fact that they that Breakpoint was
A
not
lot of
good.
fallout. Something Bethesda wish they had.
Yeah, they wish that they had a lot of Fallout. I'd love to see Ubisoft make a Fallout game just so I could do the same 5 objectives. Oh, we could do that. I could finally get to one of those giant towers. You would actually be able to climb the tower for radio for
Wait, I just realized that actually makes an interesting concept. Fallout's object system of run into the thing to find your questing, and Ubisoft's find the point to scan for your objectives, and Ubisoft's concept of search and scan, and you have to say you found it to find it.
Yeah.
In some way, and Skyrim's you found it. Sorry, Skyrim. Bethesda. Wow.
Game Company X.
I have had enough rum.
Game
You
Company.
have not. Why is all the rum gone?
Game Company X
it's
wants
not
me to
gone.
stop drinking rum, and they suck. Yeah. But
Game company name here wants me to stop drinking, but I say fuck them.
Accurate.
yes.
Let's be honest.
Very.
It doesn't matter if a game company told me to stop drinking. I would probably say fuck them because I'm an American. God damn it!
Mm.
Americans get
I
drunk.
live free or die. God damn it! It's funny because you two live in this state.
Live free or die. Death is not the worst of evils.
Sometimes depends.
You never
Depends
know.
on your god.
It could be.
Depends on which afterlife you're going to,
Yeah.
and if that afterlife allows you to throw a punch.
Right.
What was the thing I said? I said to someone the other day. I had an interesting discussion with someone because they decided that me stating that Thor or Odin was a real god was full. You know, like you really shouldn't be promoting false gods. You know, I don't want you going away from the name of our Lord. And I was
what
just
are
like, friendo,
the
you do realize I'm a literal pagan. Like
Yeah.
this is not a joke. I'm in fact a pagan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just this moment where I went, you do realize I'm not joking, right? Like these gods may fuck me over, but at least they don't have these weird ambivalence. They're just
Oh,
like,
I was
"Ah, I
calling
don't
it
know where I'm
cults.
Huh?
I was calling it cults, but what is?
There's a
Oh, they're all
cult?
cult in the end.
Yeah.
The difference between a cult and an established religion is money.
I thought it was. Well, no, that makes sense. You're right.
Incorporation.
Cults
You
just
get-
kill you.
You get an incorporation. Here you go. You have
Yeah,
officially
The difference is tax breaks.
Yep.
tax breaks, and whether you end up on
Aw.
one of those little lists that asks you which religion you are when you sign up for things.
Like
That's why Jedi Knights are a real thing. I wanna be a
enough people
Jedi.
in Australia, and all of a sudden Jedi Knights are now a real thing.
Yep. Congratulations. I hereby hail the light side. Some people call
You
the
know
light
what?
side God.
I would follow the Jedi Order pretty quickly.
I do find it.
If some dude showed up and said, "Listen, if you follow my ways, you can move rocks with your mind," I'd go, "All right."
You know,
Especially if you can prove that's a possibility. You
I
know?
I appreciate like when Yahtzee's talking about how like he actually likes the idea of sun gods because at least the sun is something you can actually like witness with your own two
Yeah.
eyes. It's like that kind of makes sense. It's a thing I can actually see. Like, I can't look directly at it. It's big. It's important for the foundation of life. I understand sun worshippers. It kind of makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Sun worshippers really are that consistent thing about across civilization. You go, nah, that's fair.
But you know, it's kind of
I mean,
interesting. A lot
Even
of
in modern society, sun
Yeah.
can kill you.
yeah.
One long wrong glare on 93, and you have hit the back of someone's car.
This is true.
Yep.
93 is a death trap.
you go towards exit 1, it's all of a sudden impossible to see.
Yeah.
Ah, well,
it's the 93rd level of hell. we found
Yeah.
Where
that's
where the
fun.
heck is exit 1?
Just it's on the border. Of
It's when you
Manfred,
find salvation. exit,
That makes sense.
exit 1, you get saved.
Exit 1, you enter the point where, oh wait, normal civilization exists here.
It's perfect.
It's also where Salem is.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't get that far down typically.
No.
Yeah.
My
What's wrong with
my
you?
wife and I work in the Massachusetts, so we have to pass that. Well, she does. I don't have to.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you have to cross over. Okay. Mhm.
She
Un-
does. I'm thankfully.
unfortunate.
Let me in. Ah! Sorry. Normally I play Dark Souls. This time I'm playing Warframe.
Yeah, it's always something. Sometimes it's
There's always
Sekiro.
something to allow me to yell at you people.
Usually it's
Let
some.
me
And
in.
then I can pretend like it's the game and not my frustration.
It's usually from
gross.
software, and I have to accept that I know exactly how you feel because I've only played a couple, but I know that frustration. I know that anger.
Yeah, I'm terrible about Dark Souls and Souls games in general.
I can't do them. I
I'm
tried.
I am thankfully someone who would probably survive in a Souls game because I am very stubborn.
Yeah,
So it's like, oh wait,
That's
I'm
a
immortal now?
requirement.
Okay, yeah, nothing survives me.
yeah,
Because yeah, I may die a million times, but I'm getting through you at the end because this still hurts you.
yeah,
And there's nothing you can do to stop that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't mean I wasn't stubborn. I just mean I'm bad at the game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can still be bad, and I'm stubborn
I'm
enough to be like,
terrible.
I will eventually kill you by 1,000 cuts.
I was stupid because I played Dark Souls for the first time, and I decided to be. Oh God, what is that thing that you can be? Is it the emaciated one or whatever? But it was like
The depraved.
the depraved. I just decided to
The one
be
that starts with
that.
nothing.
It starts with nothing. I had like nothing at the beginning. I don't think I had an artifact or anything, and so. I like started on the hardest possible mode I could possibly be on.
So I will state that to From Software's credit, they are very clear that this is not the place you want to start, and that's a really good design philosophy. The depraved has two things: a loincloth,
Mm-hmm.
which makes you think, maybe this is not the right way to go,
Mm-hmm.
and equal distribution of stats, which makes you go, wait, the guy with loincloth is balanced. Hang on, something else has to be going on here. This
Yeah.
is not right. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute. Do I understand game philosophy now? And the answer is probably not, but you're doing better.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, random citizen.
I was always bad at them.
Attention, random citizen.
And I love you, random
State-
citizen. And it's not a lie. I do
statement.
love you, no matter who you are. Unless you're Xi Jinping? Is that the guy? I can't remember if that's China's leader's name.
Winnie the Pooh.
He was.
I don't
his
want to
name
say
is
Winnie the Pooh because I actually do like Winnie the Pooh.
I do like Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh is actually a wholesome character who I support.
Yeah. You do ask yourself, will Disney? Did Disney? Was Disney able to actually release Winnie the Pooh the movie in China? I don't
No,
think they
it's not.
could. No.
It's
And
it's
and
not allowed
Disney
to.
wants the Chinese market too. I'm wondering if that's
Well-
the reason it didn't get very far.
well, here's the thing. It didn't sell at all in China.
Yeah.
It wasn't allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't matter because it sold enough in other places.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, other things sell in China well enough, like Marvel.
Yes. Yeah, they do. Well, I kept thinking it was weird when they were talking about they were gonna they announced the whole thing for the Marvel slate of products, and Valkyrie is gonna be the first openly gay character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when they do the next Thor movie, and I'm like, yep, everywhere but China. It's like-
Which
they're
yeah,
gonna
I'm totally
that
okay
out.
with a canon bi character.
sure,
That's dope to me.
sure, I'm good. I'm
Good.
good.
Do that.
Yeah.
Please.
But
Make yourself do something more. But
yeah,
I know you're not going to take the business risk.
no, No. What they're gonna do is they're gonna make an edit of the movie where she's just it's not even addressed, and that's gonna be just for the Chinese market. But that whole thing just feels so super disingenuous. It's like look at the strides we're making, except in the markets where that's not okay.
Look how progressive we can be when it doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's look at what kind of great social statements we make when there are no consequences to our actions. And look at how we fold up immediately when there are. Oh, okay. Good job. Good job. Because, I'm sure that there's a few places where they might use that edit. So, but, yeah, Disney really likes their money. Disney Plus coming out. Mandalorian. Gonna be a series on Disney Plus. Spacer's Choice.
The name of this podcast should definitely become Maybe Outer Worlds was right.
Outer Worlds was right. It was
just Outer Worlds was right. That's the end of it. That's the name of the podcast.
Outer Worlds is people. Yeah, no, the
people.
Crab people.
Oh, hey, Outer Worlds finished downloading, which means I'm playing it tomorrow.
Sweet.
I have all of tomorrow to do stuff, so this is gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
I do have to take care of a wasp nest, so that'll be a fun thing.
Oh yeah.
Throw a rock, run inside, freeze. It's gonna be like 30. It's gonna be 30 degrees. I'm doing it at 9 a.m. Just
great, awesome, killing it, literally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so a lot of the Ubisoft things, so I can finish up with Ubisoft's beratement. Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Gods and Monsters, they're actually now, because they're so close, they're gonna get next-gen launches. Essentially, in addition to the main, to the current gen launches, because by the time they come out, they're going to be ready for it. So they're basically developing 5 games for Project Scarlet and PS5. Essentially is what they're doing. And
oh boy.
Yep. So.
Oh boy.
So who knows? Maybe that will work. I did find it very funny though. I saw one person from Ubisoft who was like, we're actually looking to talk to studios about making unique gaming experiences, and I had to laugh knowing how often they've made the same goddamn game over and over again, that they're suddenly like, unique gaming
Crenshaw said it best. How many times are you gonna staple this corpse to your game?
Yes, I approve.
The thing I've always said about Ubisoft is, yes, they always make the same game, but at least they're good at making that same damn game. The game that they make, it always seems like it is a serviceable working game. I can't...
Technically, that's Blizzard too.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. But at the same time, to Blizzard's credit, they do have unique games inside. Like I've played so many Ubisoft games.
It can take down an entire state or two.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, you mean the company? Never mind.
Yeah. But if you play a lot of Ubisoft games, they have many franchises, but a lot of them play very much the same way. And they've slowly but surely been becoming the same thing over the course of time. Far Cry and like Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and even Starlink and Division are mostly the same kind of game. It's like big open world. I have 5 basic activities that I do. I go and explore everything that's around. I get progressive like bumps in what I can do as I go through it, and I grind through level after level into other areas that have more like higher level monsters or high level things. They basically function all the same way. Noting I've played a lot of them, and I enjoyed that Ubisoft gameplay loop. It's just I am fully aware that it is the same loop every single time. I'm there for it and I accept it. But I
Certain
would like,
loops are fun.
yeah,
Certain loops I refuse to accept, like
like
the slot machine loop that 2K wants,
no, I don't accept that one.
or 2K and EA want. Because let's be honest,
Yeah.
EA looks at 2K and goes,
The thing I am so surprised by is can you believe that 2K did not insist that Gearbox put all of that into Borderlands 3 because
Uh,
they
I can believe it in one aspect, and that's the publicity of Borderlands
yeah.
had enough that if their loot box became their serious monetization,
Mm-hmm.
it would have died. They knew that.
Yeah.
Like, no, monetization publicity is a big deal.
Yeah.
So if Borderlands 3's monetization was entirely loot box based, it was screwed.
Yeah, especially considering that there is like the big gameplay loop in Borderlands is being able to get random loot generated by playing the game.
Exactly.
It would have been pretty much a ruiner. But the thing that's also fascinating is that cosmetic upgrades in Borderlands drop as loot, which is like unheard of for most game companies now. You make people pay for that shit right out of the gate. You want a new skin for your Fortnite character? You pay for that with V-Bucks immediately. And that's the thing that's like people are like, well, it's just cosmetic. Well, yeah, but now there are kids that are being bullied.
It's the accepted exploitation.
Yeah. Well, because there are kids that are literally now being bullied because they have the generic Fortnite skin. Well, first of all, why? Just just why?
I'm just glad that the John Wick skin is actually a thing you can get from playing the game. Like,
yeah.
thank you for at least treating your people who have been here long enough as, hey, you're here a while. Here you go. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what the game is. It can be Fortnite.
Yeah.
I accept that this is a part of your game now, and that is
Yeah.
better than a lot of games
Yeah.
actually share.
Yeah. On the other hand, I could pay essentially $18 so that I could get what Angry Joe refers to as fucking blue in Fallout 76 for the damn power armor skin. That's right, 1,800 atoms so I can get the Vault Tech blue. But not the Ranger armor. That's exclusive to the Fallout First community, which is why you know that they're Fallout First subscribers. They're wearing the damn Ranger outfit.
For real.
Yep. It's pretty easy to tell. You can't wear that Ranger armor because people are going to ostracize you because of the civil war that's been created.
That is the
People are gonna murder
stupid,
Yep.
terrible thing.
That was not smart. So yeah, good times. Anyway, so yeah, everybody kind of sucks now, and I'm sad because I like.
Continue to be sad.
I continue. I continue to be sad mostly because there's like a laundry list of like game companies that I like, and it feels like that list gets shorter and shorter and shorter every year. That the ones that I like really like, and unfortunately, so many of the times there are dev houses that I like that are inside of those companies that kind of suck, and I worry that those dev houses are going to suffer from their parent companies, their publishers, making decisions. I've already seen it too with like Bethesda, is that like they have some great game studios working under them. Like Arcane and Machine Games, Tango, and id are like their game studios, and they've produced some great games, some really great games. But like when they released Youngblood, like Machine Games obviously had some pressure on them to include like 76-ish kind of mechanics in that, which completely undermines the work that they had done with like New Order and New Colossus, and it's a shame to see. when I did the video, I had actually suggested, Bethesda, if you have no interest anymore in making good games, like you don't care about your franchises, at least let your studios do them instead. Let Arcane make Fallout, or let id make Fallout. It's gonna play better. Like they'll use a different engine. They'll use Frostbite or Unreal. Let Arcane make Elder Scrolls from now on. They made Dishonored.
Impressingly not wrong.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I can tell you right now, if they just told Arcane right now, you're gonna just do Elder Scrolls 6, and I can tell you right now, it would be a better game. I swear it would be a better game. I know Arcane wouldn't be using the creation engine, but they'd be using an engine that worked well.
Yeah, which is not the creation engine.
Yeah, exactly. and like I already know from what they did with Dishonored and what they did with Prey, they understand how to measure action and stealth and atmosphere and gameplay, and it would be a lot more interesting. Starfield, you can have machine games do it. The storyline's going to be great. Like
The question now is,
yeah.
can we get Bethesda the game with the creation engine 2?
Mm.
Because that's what they're gonna name it, or something
Yep.
like that. Or
Yeah.
they'll call it the Elder Scrolls engine. They'll market it, but
They'll market. You know what they'll market it as? Like the Rebirth engine, because they're gonna want to
Jesus.
try to say that there's like a new era for the company. And it's like so you had the creation engine, and it's almost like a recreation engine, so it'll be like Rebirth or something like that. If that ends up being the thing, mark this moment where I said that. If that ends up being,
mark this microphone
yeah,
fuck up.
that's right.
Because
It's
your microphone just went.
Oh, the Rebirth engine, folks. It's gonna be like Death Stranding with the baby, and and all of a sudden I'm a new Norman Reedus. It's gonna be that. So
I have heard the most interesting thing I heard about Death Stranding is it kind of makes sense.
yeah, the weird thing about Death Stranding is I still have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on. But
I
I've heard,
have found one thing.
yeah,
You are a man who is
yes,
supposed to deliver packages, and there's a lot of plot elements that let you do that.
yes. And I can see how that makes sense. I don't know how that implements into the game. The thing that's weird for me is you see a lot of reviews that kind of think that it's mediocre, and then ones that think it's brilliant, like a masterpiece. I haven't really seen anything in between. It's like either there's people that are like 10 out of 10, an absolute masterpiece, or they're like 6 out of 10s.
6 out of 5.
6 out of 5. No, I no. Surprisingly enough, IGN of all people gave it a 6 out of 10, which considering IGN like gives 9s to freaking everything, you'd be really surprised. But I think recently they've been pulling back on a lot of that. But I did appreciate that they gave Outer Worlds an 8.5, because that was the score that Obsidian needed to obtain to get the bonus for New Vegas, and they fell 1 point flat. They needed to get a... Bethesda said that they would give Obsidian a bonus if their Metacritic score was 85% or higher, and their Metacritic score was 84%. So they didn't get their bonus for that game. So I appreciate that IGN gave them an 8.5, which would be 85% for Outer Worlds. Thank you. I liked that. But yeah, I've heard mixed things about Death Stranding, and it's hard to say because I never really understand Hideo Kojima. I like the Metal Gear franchise, and I played quite a few installments, and but I rarely even understand what's going on half the time anyway. So I just kind of
It's just life.
it's yeah. Basically, you imagine Snake coming out like, "Wow, we live in a society, right?" Like it's
We live in a society.
yeah, it's a society.
feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like I live
Sometimes
in
I
a
feel like I
society.
live in a society, and therefore,
And therefore,
that's
uh,
it. That's the end of the statement.
yep. And therefore, yep.
I
It's been a
wish there
ride.
was more,
I,
but there's not enough to be
there,
made.
there's not enough to be made. Oh my goodness. Something interesting that did come over the wire just a little earlier. Uh, Talking about tabletop game. Oh wow, something tabletop related.
We do tabletop related things.
We talk.
Shit.
Sometimes we talk
Shit.
about
Well,
tabletop.
I don't
Shit.
try to, but
Rarely, but we do occasionally talk about it. But D&D Beyond announced that they have made their encounter builder is now in beta. Which I think for people like me, this is great because there's a lot of elements about the system that I don't know how to actually balance.
Honestly, for a lot of people, it's great because there's the difference between encounter level and monster level that some people don't always realize, which means they
yes,
overpower encounters a whole lot.
yeah.
yep.
So what they're
And there's
doing,
also people who take the encounter level and go, my players' numbers are a bit high, so I can add a few people on top of this.
right. So what they say some of the features of Encounter Builder is you can enter your players' characters and their levels. You can filter threats by challenge rating, environment size, tags, and more to find the perfect encounter that makes sense for your scenario.
Is it going to be an app?
It's part of D&D Beyond, so you can do
Is
it
it-
in the D&D Beyond site. So,
They should make a mobile app for it
I
because that would be brilliant on
Oh,
their half.
I think that you can get D&D Beyond I think as an app on your phone, so it should be part of that.
I mean,
Probably
I'm just saying,
Probably
an
when it
encounter
implements.
app
App
would
is
be
not
perfect because they would have a million downloads.
Oh yeah. Sure thing.
The current issue I found with the D&D Beyond app is it's basically like a buy our books app.
Oh yeah. They give you the basic stuff for free. But they
Well, yeah, that's what they do. They draw you in. They go,
Yeah.
here's the basics. Now you have to pay for the rest, which
Yeah.
honestly isn't a terrible business model.
No,
Um,
because they were
I
going
think
to
it's-
charge you for the books anyway.
Well, I
But-
think as far as like for a tabletop design RPG company type
Mhm.
business model, I think it's a good one. So
Hmm.
then it's like, hey, you can play this game for free, but if you want the extra stuff, you're gonna have to pay for it.
Right, the supplemental books are basically what we would charge you for the actual book.
Yeah.
But you get the functionality of being able to utilize it with the tool set in D&D Beyond. Because, I mean, my characters I made in Beyond, and I do have to say, I really wish more game companies built systems like that, where I could really get an idea for your system by building a character from scratch, and I could see all the derived stats in, like, my character sheet online. You don't see it very often where you can really do that. And they did a pretty good job with Beyond. They say you can add and modify, remove all monsters. This is something that I thought was interesting. Let the builder do all the math instantly to determine how difficult your encounter will be. And I was like, okay, that's great because usually that's a huge problem for people figuring out
Yeah.
exactly what that's going to be or how hard this is going to be.
Only because the math they used originally for it was garbage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, five math isn't great. Kobold Fight Club has a decent amount, but it's really, really dependent on your party. And
Mhm.
I'm wondering how much they actually put in party consideration. Like, do you have a group of all clerics or even all casters?
Right.
You have a warlock. You've got your hexblade warlock,
Mm.
your healing cleric, your DPS cleric, and your wizard for utility or sorcerer for
Yeah.
debuffs.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
this guy has silence.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. That's the end of the story. Like,
yeah.
how much does that affect the party dynamic? And
That's like.
I'm wondering how much they put that into consideration.
I mean,
I mean, your Hexblade Warlock would be kind of okay.
Yeah, well, they still have their weapon.
They're only a half caster, anyways.
But there's, in my experience with playing a warlock for a long period of time, like about 2 years without even getting Hexblade as an option. I was just the warlock with a pew pew.
Mm-hmm.
Having a warlock, like, yeah, you may have cool abilities, but without your warlock powers, you're just an underwhelming fighter.
Yeah.
But at
yeah.
least they can wear armor, so they're still better off than a wizard.
True. They're the best off. But, like, so can clerics. So like, your clerics, like, your clerics in Hexblade are going to be in melee combat and be like, yeah, I can hold my own
Mm-hmm.
against
Yeah.
some strong villagers.
Yeah.
But, what level are we playing at? Are we playing at level 5? Well, they'll be fine. It's a little hard, but whatever. Are we playing at level 11, where fighters are expected to have 3 attacks, barbarians are expected to have something else, paladin, Are
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
playing at level 15, where your clerics and warlocks are supposed to have the weird near god level powers? I have the hiccups. God damn.
It's all the rum.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll do it. What I am seeing right now, because I went on here just to look, and right now they don't have something specifically where they're figuring out what your party is. But what you can do is you can choose the number of characters and what their adjusted levels are. So, like, if you wanted to say, I have a few characters that are at level 6, and then I have one character who's actually starting out at level 1. It tells you what average party level is, and then so it will adjust for things like that. But again, it's just in beta right now, so who knows? Maybe they'll actually look at actual class mods and see how difficult it's going to be based on that. Because depending on what you're coming up against, if you're gonna take on like a Mind Flayer, it's gonna matter what kind of characters you have in your party.
Do you have 4 wizards? And Intellect Devourer is hell. Do you have 4 barbarians? Well, Intellect Devourer is just in the way for you to punt.
Yep, pretty much. If you have an Umber Hulk, casters are gonna have a bit of an issue. Maybe they're gonna get in close, and you don't have any tanks. Okay, that's gonna be a fun time for you. You enjoy.
I've made an entire Umber Hulk fight useless by being a warlock.
Yeah. The funny thing is that, like, I play a Shadow Monk, and I have used all of my Shadow skills. Silence is the one I have never been able to pull out. I never had a reason to, but I started to think to myself, there is going to come a time where they're in the middle of a ritual, and the rest of the party is trying to stop it, and all of a sudden I get an idea in my head. Right. I can stop this ritual real fast.
Right now.
And because I'm the one in the party who has
you
silence.
You said they're chanting, right?
So there's
no.
there's a verbal component. Oh, okay. Because I did start thinking like there was a whole thing with like a ceremony, and like this was supposed to be like the cult that's actually like building something up, and I kept thinking to myself, if we end up in a situation where they're trying to summon something from a portal on the other side, I can solve this problem real fast.
It's not just the cult summoning Cthulhu. It's hey, you know that guy that's about to reveal who the secret protectors of the land are, aka revealing your secret identity and making your jobs a lot harder? What would happen if just 20 feet around him, no one could hear anything, and there was in fact no sound?
Yeah, that would suck.
And
For
you just
them.
showed up and said, "Hey, that's not cool. You're making that guy's life a lot harder."
Yeah.
I'm totally not related to him.
It's good. I'm very happy. I because like I'm a tank anyway. Like I'm pretty much first in.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
a shadow monk and you're a tank?
Yep. I'm a turtle.
Your poor party.
Well, it's me and a barbarian halfling. That's pretty much what they have for melee combatants.
Okay. How is the barbarian not the tank? He has He
Um,
should have more health than you.
he has slightly more health than me, but I'm a bulky turtle, and my constitution's like 19. My strength is 20.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm a turtle, so my AC is naturally 17. So I'm just like a big bulky monk who punches really hard. That's
He's just a
basically all
monk
I
who
do.
goes, ah, yes, the dangerous techniques of my monastery is fuck you.
Yeah. Ha ha ha! Fuck you! And I just gonna run up and I punch him with my thing, and then I do a got your nose trick by actually trying to pierce the. I'm the character who jumps onto the
You
back of
actually take the
Shadowfell
nose.
dragons because I think it's fun. Shadow step onto the back of Shadowfell dragons.
Let's be honest, Shadowfell dragons are really cool.
Yeah, yeah, and it's especially fun when we shoot them down with fire bolts. That was also fun.
Hey, I fought my own patron with a single spell. I killed my warlock patron with one spell.
Wow.
The spell was Dimension Door.
Oh.
What happens when you teleport you and your patron 500 feet in the air? Well, what happens is you flip off your patron, he steals your soul, and then you both hit the ground.
So it didn't really work out too well for you either.
Oh, it worked out great, actually, because our druid decided, hey, if I stab the patron, what happens? Well, he can't hold on to the soul while he's being disapparated. Cool. What if I shove that back into our friend with a reincarnation? That's a spell you have? I got it today. Huh.
Hmm.
And that's how my half-orc warlock became a full-orc warlock.
Hmm.
That's when my warlock became a man.
In the eyes of
Became an
his
orc.
people, yes.
Yes. That's great. But now you don't have a patron to serve, so what do you do?
Well, so one of the most interesting things about warlocks in 5th edition, at least in my opinion, is if you have broken the bargain, a warlock can rescind the power. Yes.
Hmm.
But the power they give you is not based on the bargain. So when you level up, you're not going back to the patron. You're actually just forging this power. So if the thing about my warlock was my patron demanded an act of betrayal.
Hmm.
He demanded a favor and an act of betrayal. I had done the favor, but there was an act of betrayal that was demanded. The contract never determined who said the act of betrayal was, but it had to state that this act of betrayal was agreed upon. So when I showed up in front of him, I extended my hand and said, "Here's your act of betrayal. I'll get you out of here. Here's your act of betrayal." And then I teleported him 500 feet in the air and said, "Fuck you. I betrayed you in the end." But he agreed upon it by shaking my hand.
Yeah.
At the end of it, because he was also currently pinned by a paladin and a rogue, and that's just not where you want to be.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
As an archfiend, you really don't want to be currently underneath the paladin and rogue.
Yeah, no. That's just going to be a stab fest for you.
Yeah, it was. The paladin literally made a card for him saying, "Sorry, you lost your war." He's a paladin.
You know, there's
Yeah?
yeah, there was a point where like I got used to the fact that like I had a party that was basically just like anytime that we could end up in a fight, we inevitably ended up in a fight. And we were going to try to go and negotiate with like these cultists who had taken over our town. And now that we were finally back, and we thought that we were putting in the most level-headed people to do this. Literally, our elvish cleric and our water genasi druid. And,
oh no!
And her brother.
My experience with water genasi is not level-headed.
But and her brother who was part of the town. The three of them were going to go in. She actually had this idea that maybe she could just be a horse and ride in on the thing, and they saw through that immediately. But so that didn't really work out. The squirrel tactic didn't work out. A lot of things just did. But
put a rat in your pocket. That's it.
Yeah. In the meantime, the rest of us are like doing sneak because I'm a shadow monk, so I can actually do pass without trace, and I can do it for the party, and so we're stealthing through the rest of the camp while they're trying to interact. But the rest of the party is well away from them, so if they start anything, one, I don't even know how we're supposed to like find out
Get them.
there's a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then also like we're not in like it's going to take a while for us to actually get there. And well, anyway, things go tits up pretty much immediately, and they just decide that they are not having any of it, and our elvish cleric decides what she's gonna do is like use like one of her top tier spells to like stone form half the people there.
Okay,
And-
that's
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself while I'm listening to this, it's like, you literally basically are two spellcasters and a villager who's partially ambled because he was in the war and he banged up his legs. He took an arrow to the knee, basically. You are now taking on, you can already see like 5 opponents. And you have not you have not figured out a way to contact us. They were able to, inside of a round, like get a mess, like I think they used like a message thing so that they could contact one of us, or perception. I think we rolled for perception, and there was a whole thing, and we realized, oh, problem. Like we saw a flare in the sky, like, oh, problem.
Oh, shit.
We're in a giant camp full of orcs now, and they just made a big splash at the holy altar that's up on the hill. So
whoopsies.
But we have the problem that like now we have to go through an entire camp full of orcs in order to get there on the other side of town. And that's going to take a while. And so Dom's kind of like going, I don't know how you're going to do that. And all of a sudden I get an idea in my head, and I'm kind of like going, why don't we just roll a general stealth check while I have pass without trace on and see how well we do? I'll just roll for it and see if we're sprinting. Literally, if we sprint through this camp, does anybody see us? And I like rolled a critical.
There you go.
So our stealth score was something like 28 or something like that on our stealth. And he was like,
your cleric with heavy armor was already in the camp, so you didn't have to worry about him.
Yeah, and so he was just kind of like, yeah, you don't have any problems. You can sprint there, but it's still going to take like 4 turns or something before you get there.
Smart DM.
So well, I mean, we can only, even at sprinting speed, there's only so far we can go, right? And and there's, he had the camp laid out, so he knew that it was X number of feet away. So he's like, yeah, it's gonna be 4 turns. So those 4 turns, I am freaking out because I'm realizing just like they are in big trouble immediately. Yep. I round the corner when I can finally get there, and one of these characters has been stone formed. It's still like there, attached to one of the rocks at this pillar. And before I could even think about it, I just like pop him in the nose with my hand. And the character is like, you are gonna pay for that. And I literally was like, you know what? Don't have time for you. Bye, Felicia. I pop him again and I keep running.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop your nose.
I literally did. Bye,
that is
Felicia.
the weirdest thing I think I've heard you say, but hey.
but it's not the weirdest thing Rembrandt ever said. Rembrandt had a point where he showed his profound insight from monk life by explaining that that pasta was what happened when bread and soup have a baby. Just let that
He's
sink
not
in.
wrong. Fuck.
Yeah. Guess what? I got a point of insight for that because literally,
All right,
literally
you get
they were
one
like,
point of insight, and if you say that again, I punch you in real life.
yeah, yep.
I think the most interesting warlock cleric relations I've ever had in a campaign was my warlock was half orc, and
Well, that was weird.
that was weird. My
The ghost.
we were fighting orcs, drow, the standard
Oh yeah.
enemies that you'll fight, but there was like it was less of the these groups are always like this, and more of a there's good reason for them to be like this. There's actually serious motivations and political intrigue, but the orcs were fighting against us,
Yeah.
and as a half orc there was always a little bit of suspicion,
Mm.
but I dealt with it pretty well, and eventually at one point the question of loyalty came up. Well, we had to infiltrate an orc camp. So, not even infiltrate, we had to go in. We had to walk in non-conspicuously. Like, we were invited, but we had to still be like, haha, we snuck in. So, I want you to figure out which opinion was here. Whether whose opinion was the fiendish half-orc warlock and the elvish god of light, elvish cleric of a god of light.
Mm-hmm.
One decided that the best course of action was to cut the heads off of the orcs and put them on spikes to display as an intimidation sign. And the other decided that that was a terrible idea because we're literally trying to negotiate something with them.
Yeah, the cleric wanted to put heads on spikes.
The cleric wanted to put
Yeah.
the orc heads on a pike.
Oh yeah.
It was
Always.
a little terrifying because I'm sitting there like, you're supposed to be about mercy!
Yeah, I can tell you, the merciful characters are always the first one. Like, they're the ones that go really off first. Yeah, I sat there and I thought to myself, like, yeah, the spellcasters in our group are just violent, incredibly violent, and terrifying, because it's like our spellcasters are essentially a druid, a cleric, and a sorceress. And so, yeah, and the sorceress is a Yuan-Ti. so she doesn't care about anything at all. She's angry.
Oh, y'all are dead? Oh well.
Yeah. And then we have a ranger, so he doesn't like a lot of long distance stuff. But then the only two that are actually, like, the only two characters that in the entire group, that we have a bard who's like an NPC, and he's a half orc. He's basically Shump, but basically he's a half orc bard. Yeah. So, but then, like, the only two characters that are like good for a melee fight are the two characters that inevitably were not around for that, and they couldn't relay any information to me. Anyway, the upshot of that whole thing was Rembrandt, like, there's a hole in the middle of this ritual thing. They're digging underneath this to find some kind of circle of power thing, and they're going in after this guy that's running the ceremony. Rembrandt just sees a giant open hole and thinks, jumping in it, because I have slow fall, why not? I'll just jump into the damn hole. I don't know how deep it is, it's fine. And I figure, well, it's gonna get dark down there, I'll shadow step off to the side, dive down a little bit further, I won't have to worry about fall damage. What Rembrandt was not aware of is that at the bottom of this pit was not a circle of power, but a portal in the floor.
I mean, that's accurate.
And so he can't stop himself from going into the portal.
Of course. Why would you stop yourself from going into the portal?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And then for some reason, the druid's brother, who's again, he has a limp, he was in the war, he's not much of a fighter. He he thinks to himself, maybe I can leap towards you and push you out of the way, the 1,000-pound turtle, from going through the portal. I literally am 1,000-pound, 7-foot-tall turtle. It's like, but this little guy.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you exactly what went wrong. He went
please.
into the portal with me too. And,
Shocking.
So the last time we were able to play, which was a while ago, but it pretty much left where Rembrandt and this other NPC character are now in some kind of a hell dimension full of swirling colors in the air.
Those are my favorite hell dimensions.
Yeah, I love the swirling Technicolor Dreamcoat look. And so I'm there now, and apparently the rest of the party is hell-bent on trying to get me out of there. But I'm pretty sure in order to do that, they have to come into to my new hellscape. So that's fun. In retrospect, I realized I probably didn't have to do that. They had
It is the midnights-ish, so
Yeah.
and these dogs need to sleep, so I will jump off, and you continue to do marvelous things. Free Hong Kong.
Free Hong Kong.
Free Hong Kong, and Blitzchung for the win. Thank you, Drunk Paul, for stopping by.
Happy to join you.
All right, we'll see you later. Oh my goodness. Well, Alex, I don't know if there was anything else we needed to discuss.
Pandas. So
Pandas?
many pandas.
Yeah.
All the pandas.
You think pandas are outlawed in China? No, they can't be outlawed in China. They're trying to make
No,
more
I think-
pandas.
The pandas are stupid and terrible.
The thing about it is, if pandas don't want to actually breed with themselves, isn't that a failed experiment?
I mean, yeah, there's been videos. We should let pandas go extinct because they're useless and they don't want to breed anyways. It costs way too much money to try and get pandas. to
we
do
really
anything.
just want pandas because they're cute.
Yeah, that's really the only thing they got going for them.
That's really all. Like, they eat bamboo. Last time I checked, bamboo's actually a pretty valuable resource now. We
Is
can
it?
do
I
tons
don't
of
know.
things with bamboo.
I mean, koalas are pretty much as bad.
Koalas, you don't want koalas around either.
All koalas do is eat eucalyptus and which is pretty much poisonous for them.
I mean, I guess there is a point where you can pretty much say the majority of animals pretty much just eat stuff and and reproduce. Because actually, humans are pretty much we just eat a lot of stuff and reproduce.
Also true.
Yeah. So I guess maybe we shouldn't be so bitchy about the pandas.
I mean, there's a difference, but I guess.
Well, but isn't there a panda you can play in Overwatch?
Overwatch? I don't know. You can
thought
play
there was-
a panda in World of Warcraft.
Oh, that's right, you can, because Pandarans are a thing.
Yeah, Pandarans are a thing.
Pandarans are a thing. Pandarans are a lovely thing, actually. I like Pandarans.
I
I like
hate
them in
them.
Warcraft 3, too.
Did you? I didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't actually play them in Warcraft 3.
Well, you have the one character that was a Pandaren in, like, the little campaign thing that they did. It was almost like the little RPG campaign in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
I remember that more fondly than the rest of the game, actually. Where you had the 3 characters or whatever, and I think one of them was Vulcan. But,
Probably.
and they leveled up
Vulcan-
in the maps and stuff. But then you got the Pandaren, and I liked him a lot. So
Yeah,
Um,
Vol'jin's a troll. He is leader of the Darkspear.
yep, I'm familiar with the Vol'jin. I hear good things about the Vol'jin. Um, Vol'jin wears a mask occasionally and wants to free Hong Kong, and that's why
He wants to free the Darkspear.
he wants to free Darkspear. Yeah, it's been too long. Um, so, good. So on this last night, oh, this is good to know. This is the last night of Day of the Dead, folks. It's a couple minutes before Day of the Dead is over. So I hope you had a lovely time. If you got dressed up for it, good. I did not. Mostly because I didn't know it was still going on. But interesting fact.
I mean, I knew it was going on.
I mean I knew that it like happened, but I didn't know it went over multiple days.
It's according to World of Warcraft, it is Friday to Sunday.
Yes. I'm seeing the dates here, so it is October 31st to the 2nd, so Saturday, November 2nd. So
yeah,
it ends on Sunday.
In game here, it ends tomorrow morning. So.
Yeah. So hey, there's that. And you know what? Considering that it's 3 days instead of the one for Halloween, 3 times is good. I think that's just logic. Time is everything.
It's a little different than Halloween though, so
it is definitely different than Halloween. It usually gets conflated with it a lot, but
it does. They're totally different.
They're very, very different. Halloween is much spookier. It's supposed to be about scary things. Day of the Dead is not really supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be a celebration.
It is a celebration of the dead.
Yes, it's a celebration of the dead. So very important. And in some ways, tells you everything about life. Good to know.
Some ways over the rainbow.
Anyway,
so...
Is that not
it?
I don't know. I feel like I should say, I feel like I adequately complained about everybody and everything. I feel like more and more as I get older, I just have more complaints about things. I think that's a sign of age, isn't it?
I think, yeah, that's just you complaining a lot about a lot of things.
When I get older and older, and as I get older, I just keep thinking about other things that annoy me. I
mean, yeah, that's pretty much it.
How long do you think it's going to be before I'm like, these kids these days?
You're already like that, Nathan.
I'm not like that. These kids these days, with their new 5th generation Pokemon or whatever the hell they're... I remember 1st gen.
We're on Gen 8.
God damn it.
You gotta get with the times, boy.
I can't with all the generations now. I don't know which one ends and which one begins, and it's just confusing.
Gen 8 is Sword and Shield.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wait till Gen 10 because that's Gen X.
Jesus.
Then it can be Gen X Pokemon.
We already had Pokemon X and Y. That doesn't work.
You know what you do is you have Gen X Pokemon, and then you put them in posters for friends. You just get like the starter Pokemon to play in the waterfall with the umbrellas.
Oh,
that has to be a thing. Make that a thing. Will Sword and Shield be Generation 9?
I think it's Gen 8. I don't think it's Gen 9.
Oh, okay. Because I know there's new characters that they're building for, and I just don't know.
Well, they build new characters every generation, so...
Right.
Also, Pokemon totally is a multiverse, so it's fine.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple game theory videos about that. It's really good, actually.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured that everything took place in the same general landscape, but...
General landscape, yes. They're different, I guess. If we go with what game theory did, which seems like it could be very plausible, it's a multiverse.
Right.
Which is why you have Ruby Sapphire, Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're different parts in the same. They're different universes that have different outcomes to an event that happens in game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting.
Okay, that makes sense. The last I don't think it was a game theory, but I think it was a film theory. The last one
Those
that
are
I,
good too.
yeah, was they did a whole thing where they were talking about how in Dark Knight, the Joker was actually the hero.
Yes, that was a good one too.
Yeah, that was good because when you actually stop to think about it, it's like, yeah, Joker seems like he was much more effective at stopping the problems Gotham had than Batman actually was. Feels like that might have been his plan the entire time. Because I have not seen the new movie. I heard it is either kind of not great or a masterpiece. It's either one of those two things. It's one of those two things.
It's a not great masterpiece.
It is the Death Stranding of movies. Either you think it's amazing or you're like, that didn't really. I do.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I do have to say though the criticism that was leveled against the new Joker movie, more often than not, by critics, I kind of understand what they were talking about. Is that when you have a movie that kind of bills itself as being like a high-minded film that has a message, it kind of takes away from the actual message because it's trying so hard to like bill itself that way. Like, ooh, look at the message we're showing you. And so then it kind of like loses the actual effect of what it's supposed to be doing. And I was like, yeah, I kind of understand. It feels like you're patting yourself on the back, like by doing a thing. And I didn't really like go along with Todd Phillips, who actually directed the whole thing. He was like, I wanted to make a real movie and sneak it into a comic book film. And I was like, you're saying that other comic book films aren't real movies? Like, did you not see Logan? or Deadpool? Or like, those were movies, man. Like with actual message. Dark Knight wasn't a real movie. I think you haven't watched comic book movies, dude. Kind of an undercut, man. I gotta tell you. But anyway, that was interesting, and I did like it, but I haven't really seen as many of the game theory videos lately. Sometimes they just talk about games that I have no interest in. Like, there's been so many Five Nights at Freddy's ones, and it's like I've seen one or two, but I don't care about the game. So
yeah, it's interesting, but you're agreed.
I don't care about the lore because I don't play Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I just...
You should go play Five Nights at Freddy's.
Like, when they start talking about, like, Petscop or stuff like that, I'm like, I have no interest in ever playing this game. So...
I mean, I don't play all the games they talk about, but I do enjoy some of the game theories.
Some of them I just, like, I have no interest in the game in general. Like, not even just playing it. Like, I don't really even care to find out about it. So when that happens, it's like, whatever. But, I mean, that happens with film theory, too. Sometimes they get on a thing where it's like, I don't know anything about the series, and I don't really care about what it might mean because it has no appeal to me. But usually if there's something that I directly like or have an interest in, I'll watch those. It's just, I guess as of late, they've had more about stuff that I don't have vested interest in, so... These kids today with their new stuff that they like. Oh man, I am an old man, and that's why I've complained for the last 3 hours.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, old man.
But now, to be fair, my criticisms are not unfounded. It's just that I have a lot of them.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Hey, if you have any problems that you'd like to talk about, you feel free. But I know you don't really mind that much about stuff, so you don't get worked up about stuff.
I don't.
No.
I don't get worked up at all.
Yeah, because it's whatever. I guess I just care because I still have this weird delusion that it might matter if I care.
Does anything truly matter in the end, Nathan?
The delusion that we can actually change it all is what drives me forward into the future. So I'm living on that. Good
I'm
times.
walking on sunshine.
Um,
Whoa.
I'm walking on sunshine. It's an illusion too. I'm walking on sunshine. Yeah. So anyway, I hope everybody had a really nice Halloween and are still enjoying a very nice Day of the Dead. Oh no, it's 7 past. So Day of the Dead's apparently over. The Day of the Dead is over now, folks. But I hope you enjoyed all of the spooky times and the celebrations of life and all of that stuff. And boy, we won't be able to talk to you until after Thanksgiving. If you're listening to the live show, the next one will be in December. Right in time for all kinds of gifts. You're going to be giving gifts to all of the youngins that are out there. Or oldens. I like
Old uns.
oldums like me. So if you are giving gifts to young and old, we'll talk to you in December. But I hope that everybody has a very nice Thanksgiving. If I don't talk to you beforehand,
I mean,
yeah,
probably we'll talk to people beforehand, but you know.
yeah. I mean, maybe not like on a live show, though. Probably not on a live show. But hey, thank you very much to Drunk Paul for joining us.
Thanks,
and
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Even though other people said they were going to join us, they didn't.
Yeah.
Losers. What?
Yeah. No, we didn't say that. But you guys totally like insinuated that you might come by, and you didn't do that. So
Let us down.
you let us down, Durwood. I would say, like, I would usually at this point ask what people are playing, but I think we've well covered that. You're playing World of Warcraft, Paul was playing Warframe, and I'm playing Outer Worlds. That's pretty much all we needed.
Yep, that's all we need to know.
And Outer Worlds is fucking fantastic.
I mean, did you see the cinematic for Shadowlands?
No.
Oh, you should go watch that after we're done recording. Go watch
Okay.
the cinematic for Shadowlands for World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's oh boy,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
boy, it's a thing.
For a second there, I almost thought you meant Shadowrun, and I was like, "There's another Shadowrun game." Oh,
No,
that's gonna be fun.
Shadowlands.
Shadowlands. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
cinematics. That's always a big thing for Blizzard. So
they do really good ones.
Yeah.
Also, I just completed the war campaign for
Yeah.
Battle for Azeroth earlier,
yeah,
and I'm simultaneously excited and sad because they killed off. Spoiler alert! If anyone's playing World of Warcraft,
No
that
one
listen to
cares.
this,
It's fine.
they killed off Overlord Sour.
Okay.
The Horde now has a council instead of a, or at least they're going.
Oh,
Because we're at a time of peace right now.
right.
So that's neat, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
interesting. All the stuff. So, I guess they're also introducing new Death Knights. Every race can be it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, fun times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds it.
But yeah, go watch the cinematic. It's. I know you don't know what's going on since then.
Nope.
Before
Past Lich King, I think, is where I don't really know. It's been a while. I haven't played in a long
Oh
time.
well, then you'll enjoy the cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So you go do that, and then let me know what you think.
That's fair. All right. Well, I guess I'm off to look at a cinematic and work on getting all of this out. And stay tuned to more stuff on Delve. Hopefully, we're going to have a couple really good episodes coming up. And we're still talking to some people about some upcoming stuff. So look forward to that. And we will talk to everybody at a later time. Don't really know when that's going to be. I guess it's going to be the first Saturday of December. Hopefully, people will join us for that as well. And yeah, looking forward to that. Until then, you can stay tuned over at DelveCast.com, of course, and follow us places.
All
That's
the
always good.
places,
All
like
the
to
places.
our cars.
No, don't. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Not to our cars.
No, not to the cars. Not to the cars. No. I will call the police. If you do.
Do not follow Nathan to the car. He will call the police.
I need to buy a taser. Okay. I think that's about it for us. Thank you for joining us on this episode. We will see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Let's see.